Good morning, everyone. Right. So today is the first Sunday of the month, which means today is the day we give the gift of giving, don't we? Which also means I have to be conscious of time. And so we will have to aim to conclude today's sermon at least by 10:30, so we can finish things by 11, and then maybe leave us at least half an hour or so to go on alms round. It's something I've been trying to do for the last, but failing miserably. Not for your fault, but because I just can't shut up when I get started. That's why. It happens when you love the sound of your own voice. And more so, when you love to hear what we have to say. I'm always grateful to this audience because it is always the coming together of the two of us that makes all of this happen. It is why I always tell you that I cannot take credit for everything that we hear, everything that we get to learn here. Just as much as you do, I further my understanding of the Dhamma during these Sunday morning sessions. They're mutually effective, productive, useful in every possible way. You can be assured that I wouldn't do something that doesn't support me on my journey. What good is it to just be doing something if it doesn't support you on your own journey? I mean, after all, you would accuse me then, wouldn't you? You'd point your finger at me and ask me, Bhante, is this what you ordained for? Just to keep on preaching to others? Don't you practice what you preach? And then I'd be speechless. The way the sasana works is that when you serve others, you are served first and foremost. That is why they say in most religions, service to man is service to God. If you want to serve others, if you want to serve yourself, serve others. If you want to help others, or rather if you want to help yourself, help others, and so on. Because it is you who is first served, helped in every aspect. If you do good to others, then you are the first to experience and to earn the rewards of that goodness. And that is why we must encourage one and all to help and serve others as much as possible. Because in doing so, it is in doing so that we can progress ourselves on the path to our own salvation and to our own objectives and our own goals as well. So today is no different then. You have chosen today as the day that you want to give the gift of giving to others, and in doing so, you can earn just as much merits as you would by offering Pindapata to the Swamin Wahanse. Because I asked you, when should we do it? And you all collectively gave up this Sunday, the first Sunday of the month, so that others who are less privileged, I think it's fair to say, much less privileged than you, people who have very little that they might not even consider giving alms, or even perhaps even couldn't afford that, to go to a temple and offer some alms. Maybe even they hardly get by. They may not have enough to feel inspired to go and make an offering, but if someone comes to their door, perhaps they feel just a little bit obliged to offer something that they might have, maybe some leftovers. Still, that's something. And those little somethings add up to make something great, something big. They don't understand the size and the scale of and the gravity of their offering. They're only poor today because they have not given enough. If you have something today, that is because you have given it. It is always said that the best things in life are free. I used to think that, but now I disagree. The best things in life are the most expensive. Did you know that you had to work hard for your mother's love? It seems like you got it for granted. Not so. You only think that, you only say that because you don't see all of the time and the effort and the giving and the love and the motherly affection that you would have given previously, for which today you enjoy the rewards of that hard work, of that labor. It's only what we give, we get back. Only that. Nothing more, nothing less. That's why I always say, God is fair. He is fair and square. If you are good, you are treated well. If you are bad, then you are punished. If that's not fair, I don't know what is. You should not be punished because you're good or for someone else's mistake. You should not be punished for that. And in the same manner, you must be rewarded if you have been good. Nothing could be fairer than that, right? So whether you call it God, or you call it karma and vipaka, karmic energy, or you call it the laws of the universe, it's always like that. Be good to others and good will happen to you. Be bad and bad will happen to you. I like that. I don't know about you, but I love that it is how it is. It means who's in power of their own circumstances. You yourself is in power of your own circumstances. You are in control. You get to decide. If you're having a bad day today, it doesn't always have to be a bad day. From here on, you can change that. If you're being difficult to someone, then life will be difficult to you. If you're being good to someone or to others, then life will turn out to be better for you. That's always how it is. But don't be fooled. Sometimes people might say, well, I'm always good. I'm always helping others. How come all these things only happen to me? Only the difficult things happen to me. Only the tough things come my way. That's because you cannot remember, you cannot see past what is obviously, or rather what is apparent to you, what is right in front of your eyes. But if you are willing to accept the concept of what you give is what you get, and what you are getting today could be something you have given before, if you are willing to accept that, then all becomes clear. Well, the thing is this, whether you like it or not, whether you like to accept it or not, that is how it is. Whether you like it or not, you park in a no parking here zone and you're going to get a ticket. That's how it is. You may not like it. Tough. But once again, I love the fact that it is always what you give that you get. I like that it is that way. I wouldn't change it for anything. I wouldn't change it for the world. And I think if you're intelligent and if you're wise, you'll agree with me that it is good that it is so, which means you are in control. If you enjoy what you have today, then that is because you have given what you have today. Keep on giving. If you have wealth, it's because you have given it to others, ladies and gentlemen. If you have health, it's because you have given that to others. If you are prosperous, it's because you have helped others become prosperous. If you are famous, it's because you have helped others rise to fame. If you enjoy glory, that's because you have glorified others. If people praise you, it's because you have praised others. There's no other way. So for everything you enjoy today, all the goodness that life has brought you, give yourselves a pat on the back and say, well done. But don't forget to remind yourself to keep on doing that. Not forever and ever and ever, because there's something else we have to achieve. Just as much as it is good that what you give is what you get, the flip side of that is to get, you have to give. And although that sounds fair, it's still a lot of work. So there's an escape from all of this. And that escape is Nibbāna. An escape from both good and bad. That escape is Nibbāna. And that Nibbāna is where we're trying to get to. But to get to Nibbāna, being good are the stepping stones. So today is the day that you have all chosen to give that gift of giving, and to enable me to do that, and the Swami Maha says to do that, I will aim to conclude the sermon and rise from my seat by at least 11 o'clock. So it will give us enough time to go on alms round. You may not know where I'll be going. Usually I just ask the driver the Anagarika to take us. There are many shanties in Colombo. Although much of Colombo is very developed, there are many other parts of Colombo, even in Colombo, many other parts of Colombo that have hardly seen any development happen. And you might wonder why that is. I know the answer. It's because they haven't given, so they don't get. When all those communities around them seem to get developed, theirs don't. So then it is our responsibility, our duty, to try and help them rise from where they are to where they could be. So if they don't give, then we take giving to them so that they have an opportunity to make that giving. And I want you all to rejoice in that. You have selflessly given that up, that opportunity. So I want you all to rejoice in that. Right. Let's begin then. Let us all take a moment to bring our palms together in veneration of the Perfect One, the Buddha, who is our teacher, our guide, and our master. It is in his footsteps that we follow today. It is the liberation that he spoke of and he taught us that we strive to achieve today. And as we make this veneration, let us also remind ourselves that this is a pledge of allegiance to ourselves, an affirmation that we make to ourselves to keep true to the noble path. Henceforth, to Nibbāna, I commit myself through speech, action, and thoughts, and may these endeavors guide me to the ultimate bliss of Nibbāna. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Okay, before we begin then, let us all take a moment to seek refuge in the Noble Triple Gem and observe the precepts. To do so, please repeat all together and after me. Buddhaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi, Dhammaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi, Sanghaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi, Dutiyampi Buddhaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi, Dutiyampi Dhammaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi, Dutiyampi Sanghaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi, Tatiyampi Buddhaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi, Tatiyampi dhammang saranang gacchami. Tatiyampi sanghang saranang gacchami. Sarana-gamanam sampunnam panati-pata veramani sikkhapadam samadhiyami. Adinādāna veramani sikkhapadam samadhiyami. Kāmesu micchācārā veramani sikkhapadam samadhiyami. Musāvādā veramani sikkhapadam samadhiyami. Surameraya majjapama datthāna veramani sikkhapadam samadhiyami. Tisaranena saddhiṃ pañcasīlaṃ dhammang sadhukaṃ surakkhitāṃ katvā appamādena sampādetha. Sabba sattesu metta sahagatena Cetasa viharanam samadhiyami. Dutiyampi sabba sattesu metta sahagatena Cetasa viharanam samadhiyami. Tatiyampi sabba sattesu metta sahagatena cetasa viharanam samadhiyami. Okay. Do we have any first timers today? Yes. Welcome. Welcome. I hope you'll come back for a second time. Did you know that Buddhism begins where happiness as you understand ends? So whatever happiness you understand, before Buddhism touched your life. So if you consider the scale, people are very unhappy, they are unhappy, they are happy, they are very happy. At that point, it ends. That's where Buddhism begins. It's for people who want to be happier than happy. That's what Buddhism's for. You all understand, I'm sure you do, that in life, you always have to keep doing something to be happy. Anyone disagree with me on that? You must always do something to be happy. If you consider some of the things you do on a daily basis, daily, weekly, monthly, yearly, these are things that you all do to be happy. I don't mean the mere things you do just for your mere sustenance. I don't mean those things. Of course, we all eat, sleep, we drink, we take medicines when we are ill, and all that. But most of the other things you do, in fact, most of the things you do are not really one of those four. It's not really just to find shelter, not just to quench your thirst, not just to sate your hunger, not just to find something to cure you when you're feeling ill. The majority of what we do, ladies and gentlemen, is really because it gives us a sense of pleasure. We enjoy doing those things. It gives us happiness as we understand it. I'll throw a few examples so you know what I'm talking about. Most of you, if not all of you, will have a TV at home. And on that TV, you will watch all sorts of things. On that TV, you watch movies, you watch drama, you watch comedy, you watch horror, you watch romance, you watch various other programs, entertainment, listen to music, all sorts. None of the above are things that are required for your sustenance. Do you need to watch a horror film now and once in a while to be alive? No, then why do you watch it? It's okay, I'm not saying you mustn't, I'm just saying, just trying to prove a point to you. You watch comedy. I used to enjoy a lot of comedy. I used to like that a lot. Why do you watch comedy? Is that something that you must do to stay alive? No, but you do it nonetheless. Why is Charlie Chaplin such a popular figure? Why does everyone in this room know about Charlie Chaplin? We all know about Charlie Chaplin because he was a comedian. What does that tell you about yourself? Who's the joke on now? You thought he was the comedian. We all know Charlie Chaplin because we enjoy watching comedy. What does that tell you about your life? Just take that one example. That's enough to understand the whole thing. Why do we all know Charlie Chaplin? Anyone here who doesn't know who Charlie Chaplin is? You haven't lived then. I mean, it's okay for you not to know me, but you must know Charlie Chaplin. Otherwise, next Sunday we'll show Charlie on screen. It's been a long time since he passed away, but we still know him, don't we? He's a timeless comedian. Without speaking a word, he was able to make you all giggle. Even the mere mention of his name puts a smile on your face. See? What does that tell you about yourself, though, is what I want you to think right now. The fact that comedy is a genre on TV means people are not happy with their lives. Otherwise, why would you need comedy? Think about it. It's no little point I'm talking to you about right now, ladies and gentlemen. This is actually quite a serious point I'm trying to make. Why do we need comedy? We need comedy to make us laugh, to make us smile. That laughter, that smile we put on our face is an after effect. It's actually our hearts that are laughing, that are giggling, that are looking for that excitement, that are looking for that enjoyment, that are looking for that entertainment. The fact that you need something on the outside to make you smile, to make you laugh, to make you happy, tells you what about yourself? Would you like me to repeat the question? The fact that you need something from the outside, an actor, to make you laugh, to make you smile, to entertain you, to make you happy, says what about yourselves? Means you're not happy. Simple as that. You're not happy by default. This is not me finger pointing at you. I'm just saying that's the state of affairs. Because people are not happy, they watch comedy and expect the comedian to make them laugh. Charlie Chaplin was just one example. There are many others who have been, and there will be many others in the future. Stand-up comedy is another one. Dad jokes is another one. Knock-knock jokes. You all know this stuff. Knock-knock. Why do we have to find ways and means in which we have to make ourselves happy? What does that tell you about yourself? Why do you crack jokes when you're amongst friends? Because you want to see them laughing, you want to see them happy. Meaning you know that they're not happy. I think that's a real serious situation. We're all grown-ups here, adults. We have lived long enough to have found happiness if it exists on the outside world, in the outside world, and to this day we haven't found it, and to this day we keep on looking for it. That means something's wrong in the way we are going about it. We are hopelessly hopeful that one day we will find how to be happy, and we keep on expecting other people to make us happy and give us that happiness that we don't have within ourselves. That's a real predicament. That's why you're here, in fact. You're all here, including myself. I'm in robes, I'm in the sasana. We're all here because we are still trying to figure out, how does one actually be happy? You try eating things, eating different things, trying to be happy. You try pleasing your tongue. You try different cuisines. Today you try this dish, tomorrow you try the other dish, and the following day you try a different dish. Sometimes you go to a buffet and they have many hundreds of dishes, if not thousands. You try all that in the hope that one of these things will one day make you happy. Anyone here who's never been to a buffet? That would be a silly question to be asking from an audience like yourselves. We've all been there, we've all done that and bought the t-shirt, and we know we've lived long enough to have experienced that. At a buffet, how many different varieties do you get? Hundreds, if not thousands, right? Which one of those actually made you happy? Which one actually made you happy? None, right? So what was the point? The point is, you're looking for it. And you can't be faulted for that. You want to be made happy, but you don't know how to exactly be happy. So you keep on trying out different things. This is all trial and error. The thing is, it is quite literally that, trial and error. That's it. It's always error. Because the feedback you're getting from the outside world doesn't seem to teach you a lesson. Otherwise, when you trial something and you get feedback, this doesn't work, then you must give up on that. But no, we just keep on trying different things, and sometimes what we tend to do is we just keep going around in circles. Like a dog chasing its tail, we just keep going around in circles. For instance, today you'll watch a movie, right? At the end of that, you will not feel fulfilled. You won't feel content. So, You won't watch a movie again for another few days, maybe not for another few weeks, but then once a month, maybe next month you will be back at the cinema. Because you've tried everything. Watch a movie, listen to the songs, be with friends, go out, go to a restaurant, go to a party, go to a club, do this, do that, and then watch a movie again. This is what we seem to keep doing. We just keep going round in circles. Of course, you don't always keep on watching movies. You try different things. That's variety. You need that variety. But unfortunately, it's the same stuff that you can just keep on jumping from one to the other. And so you just keep going round in a circle. There's not a single thing, ladies and gentlemen, that you have done so far that you have felt, yep, that's it. If I can just keep on doing that for the rest of my life, I will be happy. Is there anything like that you can think of? Just one thing that you have found, you've discovered, if you can just keep on doing that one thing for the rest of your life, you will be happy. There is no such thing, unfortunately. See how elusive it is. It seems to be like God's playing tricks on you. You seem to be stuck in a riddle. It's a maze that you're stuck in. You're turning left, you're turning right, you keep going forward, then there's a dead end there. You turn around, come back again, turn left, turn right. You're stuck in a maze. You're trying to get out of this somehow, but you just keep on going round and round and round. Every turn you make now, you have lost hope. Name one thing you haven't tried yet that someone else hasn't. Anything you have done, anything you have left to do, I promise you this, someone else has already tried it. Ask them and they'll tell you, don't bother. I mean, don't you feel that we as human beings, although we claim to have a lot of intelligence, we don't really use it that much. Think about this for a second. In society, you have the poor, you have the reasonably rich, and then you have the rich. Okay, so broadly speaking, this is not an accurate description of society, but broadly speaking, you have the poor, you have the average, and then you have the rich. Okay? Is there anything the average have not tried to be happy? Let me put it this way. Is there anything that the average people in society have not tried that the poor should try and be happy? That question isn't clear enough. I'll try again. So I'm talking about three groups of people. There's the poor, there's the average, and there's the rich, right? My question is this. Is there anything that the poor, let's start with that, is there anything that the poor are yet to try? I mean, there are lots of things that are yet to try, that they're yet to try, but is there anything in their bucket list of things that they're going to try, that they want to try, which the average rich haven't tried to be happy with? No, because they have the means to have tried all those things that the poor would like to, are planning on in the future at some point. They've all tried that. They've all tried that. So everything that the average or everything that the poor wish to try, the average people, they have tried that. And they're not happy. And because they're not happy, the average, they're looking to try what the rich, the really rich in society, they have tried. But they don't seem to transfer that learning to the lower groups. That learning doesn't seem to transfer from the higher to the lower groups. And so every group in society, they just keep on hoping that if we can simply either earn enough, know enough, get around enough to try what the other group has tried, has experienced, then we will one day be happy. But unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, even the super rich, the ultra rich, if you like, Even they have to keep on doing things to be happy. There's no one in this spectrum of society, there's no one in this spectrum who's actually found one thing that they can just keep on doing every day, day in, day out, that'll keep them happy. Even the super rich, even the ultra rich. Today, they will do one thing, tomorrow they have to do something else. They just can't keep on eating the same thing, they can't keep doing the same thing, they can't keep going to the same places. It has to keep on changing. My point is this: alas, although we seem to all have access to and means of getting rich, what we have not discovered yet is how to be happy. That is a pity, ladies and gentlemen. We must not get into this mindset of thinking that being rich is being happy. Being powerful is being happy. Knowing people is being happy. It's none of those things. We need to get out of that mindset. To have is not to be happy. Why am I sharing this with you? It's because I come from a circumstance in which I had a lot. Today I have nothing. I barely have anything really. But I'm happier today. That's not to say having nothing means you're happy. That's not to say that either. If by that token, then the poorest people in society, they must be happy, mustn't they? The beggars on the streets must be the happiest people alive. That's not true either. It's got nothing to do with happiness, is what I'm trying to say. I want to help you figure out a way by which you can be happy without being dependent on the things that are around you. Because if you can discover that way of being happy, ladies and gentlemen, then you become an independent person. Right now, you are dependent on many things around you and many people around you for your happiness, which is a very dangerous situation to be in. Why is it dangerous? Why is it dangerous? Because can you command, can you demand, can you control when these things will come into and walk out of your life? Think of the person you love the most in your life right now. Just, there may be many people, but think of one person you love the most, you care the most about in your life. What assurance can you give me that they will not walk out of your life by the end of this day? Anyone in this room who can give me such an assurance? The person that you love, you care about the most in your life will not walk out of your life with or without your consent by the end of this day. Then don't you feel that you are living a very dangerous life? Your happiness is like a drop of water on the edge of a blade of grass. If your happiness is dependent on people, because people walk in, walk out whenever circumstances demand that. You're all very good people. That much I understand and I agree. And I give you 100 out of 100 for that. You're all very good people, otherwise you wouldn't be here. Good people should not have to suffer, is a philosophy that I believe in. Good people shouldn't have to suffer. Last week I asked you to put your hands up if someone in your family is passed away in the last year, 2024, and there were several of you who put your hands up. Is there anyone in this room who believes that no one in your family will pass away by the end of this year? Anyone? If you are someone who still cherishes, you'll always do, the love of your mother, the love of your father, your brother, your sister, your family, your husband, your wife, your spouse, the person you're in love with, your best friend, you must live life at your own peril. Because if it is upon them your happiness is dependent, you are living a very dangerous life. It's like walking a tightrope. One wrong step and you could fall and break your neck. As far as happiness is concerned, I don't want you to be in that situation, ladies and gentlemen. Your happiness is very fragile. Don't you agree? See, this saucer, it's very fragile, isn't it? Do you want me to prove it to you? No. If I were to drop this right now, it would break. Why are you okay with the fact that your happiness is the same? See, right now I have complete control over this. It's only in one piece because I choose for it to be in one piece. Wouldn't you agree? It's in one piece right now because I choose for it to be in one piece. Did you know that your happiness is the same? Do you realize that your happiness is the same? Someone chooses for you to be happy. My. And you're okay with that? That your happiness is as fragile as this? This is only a bit of ceramic. If it breaks, so what? But your heart is all you have. If that breaks, your mind is all you have. If that breaks, then who's going to answer to that? All I have to do is drop this to prove to you that I'm in complete control of this. This is so fragile. How come your happiness is the same? Don't you want your happiness to be unbreakable? Don't you want your happiness to be invincible? Impenetrable? No one can break it. No one can shake it. No one can destroy it. No one can shatter it. And it's not because people are bad. It's not that people are looking and out of spite, they're just going to keep on hurting you. There may be some who are like that, but not everyone's like that. There are good people in society. There are people like you. But it's not up to them how long they can be with you, how long they can live with you. I ask you the question once again, ladies and gentlemen, is there anyone in this room who can say that by the end of this year, the person you love the most is not going to bid farewell to you? Anyone? Are you ready then? That's the question I have for you. Are you ready? Don't choose to ignore that question. You can do if you want to. People tend to. They choose to ignore that question. It's like things we don't like to think about, we don't think about, don't we? If you don't like to think about it, we don't think about it. We don't like to think about the day when we have to say goodbye forever to our loved ones. And so we don't think about those days. But that's not to say that those days are not going to come to you. You are all good people and I don't want you to suffer. Do you? Good people must not suffer. That's my philosophy. Good people need not suffer. Because good people are those who help other people to be happy. Then they must not suffer. And that is why God has sent me. That is why your good merits has sent me. So that I can share the message of unbreakable happiness with you. It is because you are good. You deserve this and you're entitled to this. If you are a bad person, trust me, you and I would probably not have met. So then there are the people in your life that you are dependent on for your happiness. Then there are also things in your life that you are dependent on your happiness. It could be some material possession. It could be your business. It could be your house. It could be your car. It could be something else in your, maybe it's something that someone's passed on to you, maybe an heirloom of the family. Something precious to you. If there's something in your life that determines whether you're happy or not, again, ladies and gentlemen, those things are fragile. If those things are fragile, then your happiness is also fragile. I don't think we deserve that. I think we deserve better than that. Then the Buddha's teaching is for this and this alone, and that is to help you discover an unbreakable happiness. Your happiness right now is fragile, and you must admit that. Today, you're dependent on your ability to see. What if you lost your eyesight right now? What if you lost your sense of hearing right now? What if you lost your sense of taste or your sense of smell? These are things you wouldn't even want to dream of. Just imagine if you had an accident, right? Say you're walking down the street and there's some construction work going on somewhere, and by mistake someone just throws something, some chemical, and it splashes all over your face. These things could happen. Or as you drive home today, you run into a car accident. Right? Your car turns over, and unfortunately you bang your head somewhere, and as a result of that, you hit the back of your head on something, and you're knocked unconscious. They take you to the hospital, and then they realize that your optic center of your brain is permanently damaged. They cannot recover that. So the doctor says, she'll live, but she won't ever be able to see again. She'll come back to consciousness in about 2 hours' time, and then you're the one who has to break that news to her. I'm asking you, are you ready? You're the mother, you have to break that news to your daughter. You are the daughter, you have to break that news to your mother. You're the father, you have to break this news to your son or your daughter. You're the husband, you have to break that news to your wife. Are you ready? And if you are the husband, if you are the wife, if you are the mother or the father, you're the one who has to accept that news, and your loved ones come up to you, you can't see anything, you're blind as a bat, and they tell you, Mom, I'm sorry, I've got something to tell you. Yes, darling. They hold your hand. Well, the doctor said that everything's okay. Oh good, I'm so happy, but I can't see you. Where are you? Well, that's the thing. What are your next words? How are you going to break this to them? Honey, I can't see you. Where are you? How are you going to break it to them? How are you going to find the words? You're going to start sobbing, and then they're probably going to work something out. Is everything okay? Just tell me, what is it? And then you have to tell them, well, the doctors have said that you won't be able to see again. Just imagine yourself in that situation. I mean, really, just imagine yourself in that situation. Just imagine yourself lying on that bed in the hospital. You've just regained consciousness. Your loved ones around you, you know because you can hear their voices. You can't see them. They've held your hand. They're holding your hand so tight because they want to be there for support. And they've just broken the news to you that you will never see them again. Imagine yourself in that situation. Are you ready? This is where we learn how to prepare ourselves for that. Here. That's why you're here. The doctors can come up to you, they can do you counseling, they can give you therapy, they can hold your hand and try and convince you it's not all that. You've seen things before, it's the same things over and over again. But it's one thing for them to say, but it's for you to go through that experience. Just imagine that. Or if you have to lose your loved one in that accident. I mean, who can say that on their way home today you're not going to run into an accident? Who can say? I'm sure when you left home you said goodbye to everyone and said, I'll be back for lunch. Are you sure? You said, wait up for me, I'll be back for lunch. They asked you, will you be back for lunch today? Yes, we don't have to stay back today because Swaminivas is going on arms round, so we won't be held up to offer arms to him, so I'll be back for lunch. That's what you said. Are you sure? You'll be back for lunch? See how much confidence you have about that? With utmost confidence, you said, I'll be back for lunch. But just imagine, you're driving down, what's this road called? The main street? Which road? Malabar Road. Parliament Road, thank you, it's been a while. So you're driving around Parliament Road, and the last thing you see is a truck approach. A truck coming at high speed at you. That's the last thing you'll see. Your heart stops momentarily. Your hands freeze. And you have your children with you in the car as well. You freeze because you don't know what to do at that moment. The truck approaches you with the horn blaring, and that's all you hear, that's all you see, and that's it. In that moment, your whole life just flashes in front of you. You think, right, my husband, my wife, my daughter, my this, my that, my family, all that, but there's nothing you can do. How can anyone in this room tell me that it's not going to happen to me? Your lives are so fragile, ladies and gentlemen. Each and every one of you is just like a drop of dew on the blade of an edge of grass. Our lives are so fragile. Your heart beating, it keeps you alive. The moment it decides to stop, that's it. We think ourselves as kings and queens. Sometimes we think ourselves as businessmen and women. We think of ourselves as very rich and powerful individuals sometimes, but ultimately we are only human. Every human is as fragile as the next. We mustn't forget that. You may be educated, you may be powerful, you may be rich, you may be beautiful, but you're only human. And a human being is a very fragile animal. It's a very fragile entity. One blood clot in one of your arteries is enough, and you'll be paralyzed for the rest of your life. Forget death for a moment. Just imagine if you are paralyzed. You walk down these stairs and you trip and you fall, right? And you knock your head somewhere. Or you break your back. And then you're in bed for the rest of your life. It happens to the elderly, it happens to young people as well. I had a friend when I was at university. He was very outgoing, very smart guy, very clever, very intelligent, very loving as well. He doted on his sister, so much so that he would always carry her. Whenever he would see her, he would carry her. One of those days, he just picked her up with all of complete affection, as a brother would do. And the moment he did that, his back gave in. That was it. 22 years of age. His back gave in and he just fell on the floor. They took him to hospital. And the doctor said, that's it, this boy is not going to walk again. "22 years old. Just imagine if someone broke that news to you. Sorry to say, you'll be fine, but you won't be able to walk again. How fragile. And the thing is this, because you are attached to the people around you, it's not just you to whom something like this must happen for you to suffer. It could happen to anyone around you. Either you or anyone you're in love with, you have an affection towards, you are attached to. If it happens to anyone like that, you suffer as well. It's like by extension. This human life that we live, ladies and gentlemen, is very fragile. So we need to try and find a way to fortify our minds, to immunize our minds. against these adversities that will come your way. That's why last week I had to rub it in your face almost that 2025 is the year when these things are going to happen. 2025 is the year when you're going to get your cancer. Instead of telling me, no, Swaminas, that's not going to happen to me, how about you prepare for that? And then it's okay if it doesn't happen, right? It's good if it doesn't happen. I don't want it to happen to you, but I'm saying it in those words because I want you to prepare yourself for that. So 2025 is the year when you're going to get your cancer. 2025 is the year when you're going to have a miscarriage. 2025 is the year when you're going to lose your mother, your father. Your business is going to go bankrupt. You're going to be in a car crash. 2025 is the year you're going to realize that your loved one has cheated on you. Don't forget, you think loved one, but we understand that that's only a mind. Minds vex. Otherwise you must marry an Arahant, one says. Then it's fine. Fall in love with an Arahant, he will never cheat you. And she will never cheat you either. Why would a Rahatan never cheat you? Or never cheat on you? Because their minds don't vex. Their minds are not always looking for something. Whoever is in love with you is only in love with you because you have something to offer them. The day you don't, or the day that they want something else, that's it. I'm sorry, the truth is ugly. You have to face the ugly truth. I know no matter what I say, you're not going to stop yourself from falling in love. Because you fall in love. You don't jump into love, do you? You fall in love. I understand that. At least prepare yourselves, ladies and gentlemen. Because you're good people. You're probably the one who will never cheat on your loved one, but what if he or she does? And then what might happen? I'm telling you, 2025 is the year that you're going to discover that your lover, the person you're in love with, has been cheating on you for the last 2 years. If that happens, are you ready? Or you must tell me, no, Swamin Wahansa, such things never happen to people like me. Then you need not be in this room either. Because this is the room where we learn how to face the toughest challenges in life. I want none of you to be heartbroken. I want none of you to jump off a cliff or jump from the 7th floor. I don't want any of you to do that. I don't want 2025 to be the year where you go hang yourself. Today you think, no, nothing like that is ever going to happen to me. So did everyone who committed suicide 3 weeks ago, 3 months ago, 3 years ago, 3 decades ago. So did everyone who committed suicide. They all said the same thing. Nothing like that would ever happen to me. It's only because they don't realize that they are only a mind, and a mind vexes. For as long as ignorance and attachment lay in your mind is susceptible to all these vexations. And when your mind can no longer bear that pain and that hurt, ladies and gentlemen, the worst could happen. I don't want that to happen to any of you. Do you? Then you must prepare yourself. Then you must prepare yourself, at least to the extent where you are in control of your emotions. So prepare yourselves. And to prepare yourselves, you just need to understand yourself, really. That's how you prepare yourself. You understand yourself. You understand your weaknesses. You understand your strengths. Once you understand your weaknesses, you can get to work on your weaknesses, to eradicate them. Once you understand your strengths, you can work on your strengths to develop them. Simple as that. So now I'm going to talk to you about your mind. Why am I going to talk to you about your mind? Because your mind is the most important thing in the whole world for you. Is there anything that is more important to you? I ask you? Is your mother more important to you than your own mind? Is your father more important to you? Is your money more important to you? Is your house more important to you than your own mind? Why do you want that house? Why are you building that house? Why are you buying that house? It's because you want yourself to be happy, and by yourself, of course, you mean your mind. So if everything we do is so that our minds are happy, then that has to be the most important thing for you. But unfortunately, your mind is very fragile. Let's strengthen it. Let's strengthen it. Let's make it unbreakable. Then you must understand why a mind breaks. There's something in your mind that makes it vulnerable to pressure, to pain, to vexation. That thing is called attachment. It's the virus of the mind. You all know of computer viruses. Well, the mind also has a virus, and that virus is called attachment, tanha. For as long as that virus lays in your mind, lives in your mind, resides in your mind is vulnerable at any point to damage, to harm, to destruction, to insanity, and to even suicide. So then the only way that you can make your mind unbreakable, unshakable, impenetrable is if you do what? Remove attachment. That's it. That's all you have to do. I'm not asking you to not care about the people you live with. I'm here because I care about you. Why should I come here otherwise? I'm not asking you to not care about the people you live with. I care a lot about my teacher. I care a lot about the people I live with at the monastery. I care about all of you. I care about everyone in the world. Regardless of their race, color, religion, creed, it doesn't matter to me anymore. Used to. It doesn't matter to me anymore. Today I can love a man and a woman the same. I couldn't do that before. Back then, women were more special to me than men. That's because I was insane. That's because I thought I was a man. And I'd learned that as a man, I must have affection towards a woman, not so much towards a man. That was because attachment had a lot to do with that. So all I'm asking you to do is work on that attachment. Take attachment out of your mind and let everything else be the same. This is not an appeal for you to leave your lay lives and come into monkhood. It's not for that. It's not me trying to do anything else really. All I ask you to do is to rid the mind of attachment, because the attachment is the virus of the mind, ladies and gentlemen. Shall I prove it to you? Any time and every time you have suffered, is it not because you are attached to something? Any time and every time you have suffered, was it not because you are attached to something? Well then, I drop my case. If you were not attached to it, you would not have suffered. Let it be. Just don't attach yourself to it. That's what I'm saying. Don't throw it away. Let this be. Let this be. Let this be. Let it all be. Let the people around you be. You don't have to throw them away. You don't have to throw them out of your lives. You don't have to walk out of their lives either. Let them be. I'm talking about your mental your state of mind. Attachment is the virus of the mind. So take out that virus and let everyone be, and you'll be fine. So all these things that I said are going to happen in 2025, I can't stop them from happening, but here's what I can help you do. Not suffer in the face of them. And how is that? You have to use the antivirus to remove the virus that is attachment. The antivirus to the mind is wisdom. To put it very simply, the mind only suffers Because of ignorance. Because it doesn't understand. Once the mind understands, the mind no longer suffers. So then what must you do? Understand. Simple as that. See, I'm not asking you to do anything extraordinary. I'm not asking you to do anything special. All you have to do is understand. If today you're attached to your husband, your wife, your mother, your father, understand who they are. That's it. See, in fact, I'm trying to teach you the most important subject to you. The subject that you care a lot about. Let me prove it to you. This will be true for most of you, so I'll take that. Let's say, think of the person you love the most, once again. The person that you love the most in your life. Okay? That person, that could be your mother, your father, your husband, your wife, your brother, your sister, your son, your daughter, your best friend. Could be any of those. It doesn't matter. Whoever that is, because you love them so much, wouldn't you like for me to talk about them? Don't we like when people talk about the people that we like? Don't you? Of course, we all like that. We like it when people talk to us about the people that we like. So I'm going to talk to you about the person that you like. Is that all right? Or shall I talk to you about someone you really don't like? What would you prefer? So I'm going to talk to you about the person that you really like. The person that you love. Okay? I'm going to help you really understand them. Today, you only understand what you know about them. But you only know half the story. You don't know the other half. And the other half is not that they are bad or they're terrible. Did you know? Nothing like that. They're genuine, they're nice, they're good, they're gentle, they're kind, they're all the good things in the world. They are so devoted to you just as much as you are to them, and that's all good. But there's still something about them that you don't understand. I'm going to share that with you. And this is about the person that you love the most. Are you all ready? Can I talk to you about the person you love the most? Yes? All right. So think of that person, all right? While I talk to you, I want you to bear that person in your mind. All right? It could be anyone, like I said. Give me a quick show of hands. If it's your mother, just give me a show of hands. Okay, there are a few people. Good, good. Father? If you're here with your father, you should probably put your hand up. Husband? Not so many, but okay, still there are. Wife? Sons? Daughters? Children in common, in general? Children? Yes, good. Okay. Brother? Sister? Best friend? Okay, good. Grandmother? Grandfather? Right, well, see, that is a good lesson for grandmothers and grandfathers. No one in the room's putting their hand up. So that's an eye-opener for grandmothers and grandfathers, right? So you'd better look after yourselves, ladies and gentlemen. No one's going to put their hand up for you when you become a grandmother or a grandfather, because people are far busier looking after their own, and you are now just old stuff, that's all. Anyhow, right, so all of you have someone in mind. I'm going to talk to you about that person. Because here's what I know, you only know half the story. You don't know the other half. Let's talk about that person. I'll draw that person on the board. They look something like that, don't they? Okay. So they are unisex. So that is whoever that person is for you. Okay? How well do you know them? Let's start with that. How well do you know them? I'll ask a few questions. What do they look like? Now you're telling me like this, meaning the picture you have in your mind. No. I'm asking you, what are they like? Like, what is their image? Not how you see them. What are they like? Let's see how you see them. You have an eye. That connects to a brain. That triggers a mind or a citta. That is how you see them. Yes? So you know then for certain that when you see them, this is a citta, it's not them who's here. I mean, if it was them who are here or who's here, then how can many of us see the same person at the same time? So it's not like they disappear and then they like teleport into your mind. You're seeing an image of them. We call that an image. Yeah? So you're not actually seeing them. You're seeing an image of them. Does that make sense to all of you? You're not actually seeing them. What you're seeing is an image of them. Which is why if someone else looked at them from the other side, what could they also see? Is it the same image? Will they be seeing the same image? No, they'll be seeing another image. So each one to their own. So if you're seeing image 1, they're going to see image 2. If 100 people were looking at them, each one of them will be seeing a different image. So there in itself, we have a problem, ladies and gentlemen. You're not actually seeing them. What you're seeing is an image of them. It's like a photograph. You're not actually seeing them. You're seeing an image of them. Based on an image, you have come to a conclusion that you like them. Because part of what you like about them will be the way they look. But it's not actually them that you are seeing, it's the image of them that you're seeing. So any conclusion you can come up with is actually about an image, not the actual person outside. One simple question to help you work that out. What is their complexion? Are they dark? Are they fair? This person that you have in your mind. Are they dark or are they fair? The truth is, they are neither. Because when I speak of complexion, you're talking about a color. Yes? Yeah, so color of skin is what we call complexion. Color is not something that exists in the outside world. Color is something that can only exist in a mind. So where there are no minds, there is no color. Color is not in the eye. You might ask quickly, well, how about those receptors at the back of the eye which are sensitive to green light, red light, and blue light? They're not sensitive to green light, red light, and blue light. In fact, they're only receptive to various frequencies of energy. They respond to various frequencies of energy, and when they respond to various frequencies of energy, then they trigger an electrical impulse. We've talked about this before. These are electrical impulses. Electrical impulses do not have a color. They have no color. They're just a flow of electrons. They don't have any color. And then they get to the brain, and the brain triggers a citta in the mind base we talked about last week. And there you see now an image. That image has color. Is that the color of the person that you're looking at? Because it might be that one of the reasons why you like this person is because of their color. It could be. I mean, maybe it's not the case if they're part of your very close family, there'll be other reasons. But let's say if you have fallen in love with them, for instance. Sometimes it's their looks that you have fallen in love with, at least initially. You like what they look like. But the thing is this image that you have fallen in love with is an image that has been created in your own mind. It's nothing to do with them. They have nothing to do with this image. All they do is they bounce off electromagnetic radiation. That's all these objects do. They have no color. But you see color, and if color is one of the reasons why you like them, I'm telling you that is not one of the reasons why you should give them any credit. Because it is not their color that you're seeing. You're adding color to a colorless object. So who's got the color pencil box? You've got the color pencil box. You color it, and then you say, whoa, what a lovely picture that is. You're the artist. Do you want to buy your own drawings? I mean, seriously? Would you buy your own paintings? You paint something and then you say, I want to buy that. Because you're so impressed by that, you want to buy it. It's something like that. You give the object, the painting, value when you're the one who's put the color on the object. You're the painter. You're the artist. So why do you give value to the outside world object for something that you have done? So that's about color. Let's move on to something else then. Another thing that you might really like about them is their voice, how they sound. Let's see how sound works. Now we have to replace the eye with the ear. Is this the voice that travels from them to you? Ladies and gentlemen, this is not voice, this is not sound. These are merely vibrations. Meaning, here's what they can do. They can vibrate. To vibrate is simply to take something that can vibrate and then do this a number of times every second or every time unit. The higher you do this, the more frequently this vibrates, you get a higher frequency. If you do it less than that, you get a lower frequency. That's all they can do. And when this shakes, then the air in front of it shakes, vibrates, and that vibrations come all the way to you. And here's what happens. Your ear, there has a diaphragm. That diaphragm vibrates, and once again you have electrical signals. These electrical signals travel to your brain, and your brain once again creates a citta. This citta now perceives sound. So it's not now an image. This time, it's sound. So if previously you were the artist, now who's put the sound on the object? Where did the sound come from? You created that sound. So whose sound is it? Even if you could ask the question, whose vibrations are they? You cannot ask the question, whose sound is it? Because the sound is yours and yours alone. You're the one who created that sound. This sound you create in your mind and then you project to the object. Just like what you did with image. You created the image and you project it to the object. You create the sound and now you project that sound to the object. See, both image and sound, two very important pieces of why you might like someone, is actually your own creation. It's all homemade. Nothing to do with the object out there. They didn't create the sound, they didn't create the image. You created the sound, you created the image, and then because of ignorance, ladies and gentlemen, you think that that image and sound are both characteristics of this object. How wrong that is. Now, I want you to do this practically. Okay? In your memory, you will have an image of this person. Load that image right now to the forefront of your mind. Think of them for a second. Have that image in your mind. What complexion are they? You have an answer to that. You'll say they're either fair, they're dark, whatever, right? Is that something that belongs to them, or is that something your mind just created? Ask yourself this question for a second. If color does not exist in the outside world, this color that you're thinking of right now, it's not something that was created there. You created it in your own mind. Once again, I'm talking to you about someone you like, someone you love. So let's not try and talk about something else. Let's talk about something you enjoy. That is talking about them. Think about their voice for a second now. You can remember their voice. They'll not be talking to you right now. But think of their voice for a second. That voice that you remember from your memory, that voice, that sound was created in your own mind. It's nothing to do with them. So if their voice has something to do with why you like them, why you find them attractive, then it's your own doing. You are the creator of that. You've not known anything that is not a creation of your own mind. I can't emphasize this enough, ladies and gentlemen, and I really, really, really want you to get your thinking around this. Wrap your brains around this, what I'm trying to explain to you right now, because then you will realize that the only world that exists to you is the world that you create in your own mind. No other world exists to you. I need you to understand this seriously. Your world is created here in your mind. You have not seen something you have not created. You have not heard something you have not created. You have not smelled something you have not created. You have not tasted anything you've not created. You have not felt anything you've not created. So all your senses, all they're doing is picking up various stimuli from the outside world, and they're translating them into electrical impulses to your brain. And your brain then interfaces with your mind, and what you're seeing, smelling, tasting, hearing, and touching are all creations of your own mind. So where does your world exist? Where does your world exist? In your mind. See, right now you're looking at Swami Mahanse. What color is my robe? What color is my robe? That's the wrong answer. You just thought red. If you thought red, then that's the wrong answer, because my robe has no color. So how come you see red then? This is a color that is created in your mind. Once again, your world exists in your mind. Your mind is your whole world. What is not in your mind does not exist for you. So really, you're not really in love with this person. It's not this person that you're in love with. I've only still talked about 2 of the 5 senses. There's more to come. But already, I hope you're beginning to understand that you don't know the first thing about this person. They don't look like what you think they look like. They don't sound like what you think they sound like. All those things are things that you think. It's all in your mind. Your mind is the world in which you live. Your mind is your habitat. You don't know anything that is happening outside your mind. You don't know anything that's happening outside your mind. So what does chocolate taste like then? What is the taste of chocolate? Chocolate does not have a taste. Taste is in your mind. When you eat chocolate, the taste of chocolate is created in your mind. That taste does not exist in the chocolate. So if you buy chocolate because you love the taste of chocolate, in vain you're paying so much for the chocolate, because you're the one who's doing all the hard work. Do you understand what I'm saying? You work hard to make a pudding, a cake. Maybe it'll take you the best part of 2 hours or something to cook, to bake a cake, to make a pudding. And then you say it tastes delicious. That taste you have to make after you've made the cake. 2 hours of baking a cake and there's still no taste in it. Every cake you've baked was tasteless. So after you work so hard to bake the cake, you must also now work hard to do what? Create taste. But why did you bake the cake? Why did you make that cake? Because you thought you liked the taste, but taste does not exist in the cake. So after having worked so hard to make the cake, you must also now make the taste. What does a rose smell like? What does a jasmine smell of? That perfume that you pay so much for? That cologne that you spray on your bodies? What does that smell like? It smells of nothing. Because smell is not a characteristic of an object. It does not come in a bottle. Smell has to be created in the mind, ladies and gentlemen. Sight has to be created in the mind. Smell has to be created in the mind. Taste has to be created in the mind. Sound has to be created in the mind. So that's what I mean. If all you do, when you talk about living, if living is the experience of sight, sound, smell, taste and touch, all of that is created in your mind. It's nothing to do with the outside world. So what do you really know about this person? Here's what you know about them. You know they look like this. You know they sound like this. You may know they smell like this. They may know they taste like this. You may know they feel like this. The truth is, they don't see, smell, taste, feel anything like that. It's all a creation of your mind. You have to create these individuals in your mind. This is fiction. Don't you see? This is fiction. You have to create all of these characters in your mind, and you can't stop at creating the character. You must give them character. You must give them color. You must give them sound. You must give them smell, taste, and touch, because none of those things actually exist in the outside world. And the thing is this. Here's what's pitiful. You create them all in your mind, and then you give credit to the outside world person. And you say, you, my dear, are beautiful, when that was created in your own mind. If anyone's got to take credit for it, who must that be? Your mind. If you like the voice, if you like someone's voice, who must you give credit for that? Think of your favorite artist, singer, vocalist, right? Artist. Think of your favorite artist. You like that, don't you? You like their voice. Who must you give credit for that? Okay, who's your favorite artist? Give me a few names, because I can't remember any of them. It's been a while since I listened to any music. One of my favorites was Amaradev. I enjoyed his music a lot. Because I thought he had a beautiful voice. Now I know that he didn't. Now I realize that his voice, actually he didn't have a voice. He vibrated the air that filled his voice box. Actually, you shouldn't be calling it a voice box either. It's a vibration box. There's a diaphragm in your throat that vibrates when you electrify it. And what he had was a vibration box. And when that vibrated, those vibrations, my eardrums picked up. And then, through a combination of the eardrums, the electrical signals, the brain, and the interface with the mind interpreted those vibrations as a sound. In fact, that's all there was, a sound. Then my mind started to work with data that it had. The fact that this is coming from a person, so it must be a voice. It then referred to memory, because every moment you only hear one sound. You can't hear my voice per se. All you hear are individual sounds. Tiny sounds is all you can hear at any point. But to hear a voice, you must merge all those things together. And that is the work of the mind, ladies and gentlemen. The mind is a master at all this. It's a voice smith. You've heard of goldsmiths? Ironsmiths? Well, the mind is a voice smith. It creates a voice in itself. So if I liked Amaradeva's voice, who should I give credit for that? To him or to myself? It's to myself I should be giving credit. So name an artist that you like. Anyone brave enough? So whoever that artist is you think of right now, whose ever music you like, whoever you think is your favorite musician, your favorite artist, your vocalist, that person, that lady, that gentleman, that band, they don't have a voice. You create that in your mind. I need you to come to this realization. Go back to this person that you're really in love with, or that you love, you find you have a lot of affection towards this person. Ladies and gentlemen, I'll ask you a question, okay? Tell me one thing you really know about that person. Are they male or female? Let's leave that for another day, because there's a few more things I have to explain to you before you can come to that conclusion. What do they look like? This person that you love so much, what do they look like? What do you know about what they look like? You know nothing about what they look like. What do they sound like? What is their sound? Just imagine they're speaking, okay? You are listening to them, someone else is listening to them, another person listening to them. Three people are listening to this person. Their voice is created in... Where is their voice created? There's person 1, there's person 2, and there's person 3. Where's their voice created? Here, here, and here. So their voice has to be created in 3 different places. If their voice has to be created in 3 different places, does that not tell you that the voice is not here? The perceiver has to create it before it perceives it. So the voice is in the mind of this person, it's in the mind of this person, it's in the mind of this person. It's not in this person. So you've never heard them before. So what are you in love with is my question to you. Then you'll have something like this to say, I'm sure. You'll say, Swami Nuhansa, I don't really care much about what they look like or what they sound like, right? What they smell like, what they taste like, what they feel like. I don't really care about much of them. Here's what I care about. The fact that they care about me. That's what I care about. You'll say that, won't you? That's what I care about. The fact that they care about me. They love me, and that's why I love them in return. Okay, are you ready? If you're going to say that, are you ready? You only have your 5 senses to bring in information from the outside world. You have your eyes, which pick up, let's say, light. Okay? You have your ears, which pick up, let's keep it simple, sound. You have your nose, which picks up smell. You have your tongue, which picks up taste. You have your body, which picks up touch. What's your love receptor? So you're telling me they love you. Okay? Where's your love receptor to pick that up? Once again, let's go through that again. I'd like to rub some salt in your wounds. You can tell me that they look like this because you have a pair of eyes, and I'll have to admit, okay. You can tell me they sound like this because you have a pair of ears, and I have to admit, okay. You can tell me that they smell like this and taste like this and feel like this because you have the 5 senses that allow you to do that. Okay, fair enough. How can you tell me, Swami Nuhansa, they care about me? What's your care receptor? Where's that? Where's your love receptor? How do you know that someone loves you? How do you know that someone actually cares about you? What's your care receptor? I mean, you must have it. You must have a receptor that kind of picks up the care signals or the love signals, right? How do you know that? Well, I'll take an example from something that you might say. Well, you could say, every birthday they give me a gift, a birthday gift. It's a very simple example. And because of that, I know that they love me. Let's break that down. Let's really talk facts here so that we can work out the difference between fact and fiction. Well, you said you were ready, so I continue. Let's work out the facts, let's work out fiction. Okay, and I'll prove to you that you all live in a fantasy world. Do you like fact or fiction more? What do you like more? Science fiction? Fact or fiction? Well, the truth is, ladies and gentlemen, you live a life of fiction. You keep on fabricating stuff that you like so that life becomes livable for you. You like to think that the person you live with loves you. So you know what you do? You know what you do? Because you like to think that the person that you live with loves you, you tell yourself that they love you. That's what you do. Because I ask you the question, what is your love receptor to pick up the love signals that you get from them? Okay, let's imagine that they actually loved you. Let's imagine they really, really, really loved you. Okay, they genuinely loved you. What do you have on you that can pick up those signals? Is it your eyes? Do your eyes pick up love? Your eyes can pick up the fact that they give you a bunch of roses, right? Or a box of chocolates for your birthday, maybe a gift. But that's color, nothing more. Love doesn't travel through optic nerves, do they? Your eyes only have red, green and blue receptors, not love receptors. So at what point, okay, let's take an example. I know it's almost 10:30, but we have to talk about this stuff. Let's take an example, right? Let's assume this, right? Say, a guy comes up to you and he proposes to you. Or someone comes up to you and gives a lovely smile. What's a lovely smile? Let's talk about it. Someone comes up to you and proposes to you or gives a lovely smile. The moment you see this smile, you start to have feelings of affection. Let's just say. The problem with you is the moment you see that smile and the moment you feel that affection inside of you, you begin to think that this affection that you feel is something that they feel for you. That's the problem that you have. When they give you a bunch of flowers, and when they say, I like you, I love you, all you hear are sounds, rather vibrations. When you hear someone saying, I love you, those words trigger an emotional response in you. Don't you all agree? Yeah, so someday someone would have come up to you and said they loved you, right? I hope so. If not, come and see me later, I'll tell you, okay? Someday someone must have told you that they loved you. And the moment you heard those words, that triggered an emotional response. Where? In you. I'm pointing at the heart here because generally you tend to think that all your emotions are felt in your heart. It's not so. They're held in your mind, but just for, that's what love looks like, right? Okay, so let's just say it's in your heart somewhere, right? So the moment you hear those words, you feel love. This is an emotion that you have just generated in your mind. In that moment, don't you immediately project that emotion to the other person and assume that it is something that they have just given to you. Don't you do that? When someone comes up to you and says, I love you, you feel some kind of emotion inside you, and here's what you do immediately after that. You think that it is something that they just gave to me. It's like this then. Let's say there's some dust in the air. What might be your physical reaction to that? A sneeze or a cough. Yeah, let's say a sneeze. So someone just throws some dust into the air, you sneeze, and then you think that they've just given you a sneeze. Is that fair? So someone just throws some dust into the air, and you sneeze. Would it be fair for you to say that the sneeze came from them to you? What actually came from them to you? Just the dust. Where was the sneeze triggered? In you. Would you think that the sneeze was something they gave to you? Would you say, stop sending me sneezes? What might you say? Stop throwing that dust at me. You might say, stop, it makes me sneeze. So you know that your sneeze is your own making, right? Then how come when someone comes up to you and says, I love you, you feel this emotion of love inside you, whatever we call it love, whatever. You feel some kind of funny emotion inside of you, and then you think that they transferred it to you. Don't you think that's a bit crazy? Here's the danger with doing that. The moment you feel that, you attach to yourself to them. And then your happiness is now dependent on them because you think it is they who created those emotions in your mind because you enjoy those emotions. Whereas in your mind, you created all of that. Why did you create all that? Because you like to think that they love you. When all you can see, actually you can't even see them. You can't even hear them. You can't even smell them, taste them, or touch them. All those things are all creations of your mind. On top of that, the love that you feel for them, or the love that you think they give you, is also your own creation. That's why I asked you the question earlier. Or that's why I made the statement earlier, ladies and gentlemen. Your world is completely a creation of your own mind. You have never existed outside your mind. You don't know the first thing that's happening outside your mind. Anything that you're going through in life right now, anything that you're experiencing right now, any emotion that you have, any interpretation that you have about the world outside of you is all creations of your own mind. Here's the thing, you are alone. You have no one around you. When you think that there's someone beside you, that's also a creation of your mind. Imagine yourself in a dark room, pitch black darkness, right? About 4 feet away from you are people stood. They are all stood about 4 feet away from you. So therefore you can't reach out and touch them. It's pitch black darkness and they're all dead silent. There are 10 people stood around you. My question to you, are you with someone or are you alone? It's pitch black darkness. There are 10 people stood around you. Right? They actually all stood in a circle, shoulder to shoulder. But you don't know any of this. But they're there, but you don't know this because you can't see them. What do I mean by you can't see them? There are no chittas that perceive that. So are you with someone or are you alone? At that moment you're alone. What does that tell you then? When you're with someone, you think you're with someone. When you're alone, you think you're alone. The truth is, all you are is what you think. There's no one around you. There's no one with you. So this person that, like I said, you're going to have to say goodbye to at some point this year, you create them in your mind. That's why I said, think of the person you love the most in this world. You only know half the story. You don't know the other half. Here's half the story, the half that you know. There is something outside, but it's not what you think it is. The something that's on the outside is what the Buddha has taught us. He said it's just matter. In fact, he expressed it in 4 words. Patavi apo tejo vayo. But Patavi apo tejo vayo is merely matter. If you want, matter and energy. Just combinations, aggregations of matter and energy. That's all it is. They don't look like that, they don't smell like that, they don't taste like that, they don't feel like that, they don't sound like that. And they certainly don't feel about you the way you feel about them. Or the way you think they feel about you, they don't feel. How can you tell? Once again, I ask you, think of the person you love the most in this world. And here's my next question. How much do they love you? You have an answer to that question right now, don't you? I'll give you the question again, right? Listen attentively. Think of the person that you love the most in this world. Everyone thinking of someone? Yes? Good. My next question. How much do they love you? This much. To the moon and back. Yes? They love me with their whole life, you might say. You're talking about emotions that are generating in your own mind right now. It's how you like to think they love you. That's why it's so easy to cheat on you. So easy to cheat on you. That's why you are cheated on all the time. Because people can keep on cheating on you as long as you think that they love you. That's enough for you. Because you don't have a love receptor. If you had a love receptor, then you might be able to say how much someone loves you, how much someone cares about you. Then you could say that. I'll prove it to you with one more example. Couldn't there be someone who genuinely loves you, but this is the first time you've met them? Let's say the Buddha is here. Imagine the Buddha was here, but you don't know that it's the Buddha. Right? He's in disguise. You don't know it's the Buddha. He loves you like no one could ever love you. But you don't know it's the Buddha. To you, it's just a stranger. Wouldn't you be a bit cautious and wary when you're around a stranger? Wouldn't you treat him like a stranger? So he'd say, sir, please would you come with me to the room? Now this is the Buddha. You might think to yourself, oh, not sure about him. Why is he asking me to come to the room with him? He might say, can you send your son to me, please? Can you send your daughter? Say, whoa, hold on a second. Why do you want my son? Why do you want my daughter? Who are you? See, he speaks to you with love. He speaks to you with affection, but you don't feel it because love and affection are things that have to first generate in your mind. Because you don't have a receptor that picks up love, affection, caring from the world outside. And so the conclusion is, ladies and gentlemen, everything and anything that you feel are all creations of your own mind. So, in 2025 then, in this year, the person that you love the most will bid farewell to you. Okay? Let's go back to where we started this conversation. Your mother, your father, your husband, your wife, your son, your daughter. No one said grandmother, grandfather, so we'll leave that to a side. Your loved one. These people, one of these people will say goodbye to you. Sorry, one or more of these people will say goodbye to you. And I asked you the question, are you ready? You are not ready, or you are not ready, you will not be ready for as long as you believe that the person who's passing away is someone who loves you. Meaning, you need their love. They love you, so if they die, where are you going to get that love from? Is what you're worried about. You like that love, you enjoy that love, so if they die, where are you going to get that love from? This is the problem that you have. Now, lo and behold, when did you ever get their love? When did you ever get their love? Have they ever loved you? The answer is this: who knows? How can you tell? Because you don't have a love receptor, you can't tell whether they've loved you or not. So then why are you so worried? Why does it scare you? It's because you think they love you, they feel about you the way you think they feel about you. That's the problem. Catch my words. You think they feel about you the way that you think they feel about you. The truth is, how can you tell? How can you tell anything that's not a creation of your own mind? Because this is all you perceive, ladies and gentlemen. What's in your mind is all you perceive. If it's not mind-made, you don't know about it. Simple as that. If it's not mind-made, you don't know about it. Nothing in the physical world you know about until it's made in the mind. And the mind only interprets what's in the outside world in ways that the mind understands. So it has to be mind-made. Everything you experience is all mind-made. So your mind is the only refuge you have. Your mind is the only world that you have. Your mind is your home. Your mind is your abode. Everything that you know about the world is all mind-made. That which is not in the mind, you don't know about. So if your concern is that something is, let's say you find out that someone's cheated on you, why does that hurt you so much? Please think about this. I'm trying to immunize you for what's going to happen later this year. Oh, you don't know what's coming your way, do you? I'm trying to immunize you, ladies and gentlemen, against what's going to happen to you later this year. You're going to find out that the person you're in love with has cheated on you. My question is, why does that hurt you? Why does that hurt you? Is it because, one, you have just found out that they never loved you? Is it because of that? Or is it B, because you thought that they loved you? That was a creation of your own mind. And now you got to learn something about them. Now you think they don't love you. They are both creations of your own mind. Whether they love you or not is both a creation of your own mind. But what you like is for you to think that they love you. That's what you like to think. You like to think they love you. But now you can't stop yourself from thinking that they don't love you. It's a clash between your own thoughts, nothing to do with them. Because even when they genuinely loved you, they were never able to give you any of that love. When they decided to cheat on you, they were not able to actually stop you from feeling the love that they were giving you, because they were not giving you any love in the first place. It is all a creation of your own mind. Please come to your senses about this. Here's how it will help you if you can understand what I've just explained to you. Later on this year, when you discover that they have been cheating on you, they've been with another person, they've got a family with someone else, you can compose yourself by reminding yourself about these truths, and then convince yourself, whoa, hold on a second. They never loved me anyway. Excuse me. This love that I thought they were giving to me was actually something I was fabricating in my own mind. It was my own fantasy. It was my own fiction. So I was writing my fiction and I was reading my fiction. That's all I was doing. They were never involved in how I was feeling. My emotions were all mind-made. So now that I find that they were cheating on me, it's only a conflict that I have in my own mind between two desires, two states of my own mind. Now they have nothing to do with it. Let them be. See, to come to terms with the world, you just need to understand the world, that's all. That's why I said you need to understand this person that you are so in love with. You only know half the story, ladies and gentlemen. Until and unless you discover the other half, the half that I just spoke to you about. You've never seen them, you've never heard them, you've never smelled them, you've never tasted them, you've never touched them. When you reach out your hand and grab theirs, you experience some touch, don't you? There's some physical sensation. That is not what they feel like. It's not them that you're feeling. It's how the mind perceives those electrical signals, that's all. So much so that if we were to rewire your brains, the nerve that goes from your fingers with which you hold that individual, if we were to rewire those signals and connect them, say, to your taste center, the moment you touch something, you start feeling saltiness, bitterness, sourness, sweetness. That's how your system works. Because the moment the respective part of the brain is triggered, the brain then does what it has to do. It relays those signals to your mind through the brain-mind interface. And then your mind begins to interpret that as one of the 5 senses, that's all. So how can you have such belief in what you see? What if when you were born, you were wired wrongly in your brain? Haven't your parents said that? Sometimes you got a wire short in your brain somewhere. How can you believe so much the world you live in? This physical world. How can you believe it so much? If the sky is not blue, if the sun is not golden, if the moon is not white, how can you believe in anything? If yellow isn't yellow, and if red isn't red, if the trees aren't green, if the earth isn't brown, what can you believe in? These are things that you believed with your heart and soul. Today you are beginning to understand that they don't feel, smell, taste, look, sound anything like what you thought they did. Because they are all creations of your mind. None of these things actually exist in the outside world, ladies and gentlemen. You create your own mind and you live in a mind-made world. This is your world. What you think is your world. That's all. That's why I said you're alone. So do try and understand this, and then you will realize that this person that you think is your husband, it's actually mind-made. Shall I prove it to you one more time? What is this? A pen, right? When you are thinking about this pen, where's your mother? There you go. She didn't exist. Do you get my drift? I pointed this out and asked you, where is this? What is this? And you said, it's a pen. When you were thinking about this, where was your mother? At home? That's not what I mean. That's not what I mean. How do you know that's your mother, who you have at home? Because you have some data with you. How do you know that you were not adopted? Actually, how do you know? How do you know? Did you all get a test done? A DNA check? No. So how do you know that you were not adopted? I mean, it doesn't matter whether you were or not. Because after all, each and every one of you was actually adopted. Because your mind adopts yourself. Your mind adopts your mother. You know what it means to adopt, right? To take on as a mother, as a father. Usually you adopt a child. Right? So someone else's child you take on as yours. Yeah? By virtue of that, every child in this world is actually adopted. How so? Because a mother, when she sees a physical form on the outside world, in her mind she has to create. She has to add sight, sound, smell, taste, touch from memory, add it all together, and then take some data from her memory banks and tell herself, this is my mother, this is my child rather. So in every citta, you have to adopt your child. Meaning all mothers are adopted, all fathers are adopted, all husbands are adopted, all wives are adopted, all children are adopted, all friends are adopted. Everything in this world is adopted because your mind has to adopt everything. Because whatever the mind thinks at that moment, that's all there is in this world for you. That's all there is in this world. Look at this. Is your father still alive? How do you know? Does he exist? No, but in the moment I said father, your mind quickly ran to father. That's what your mind did. Your mind immediately adopted father. When I say moon, see? Where was the moon until then? There was no moon in your world. Sun? Now you adopt sun, but now you're not sure which sun I'm talking about. Is it S-O-N or S-U-N sun? See, how is that possible then? I say sun, and some of you are thinking S-U-N, the others are thinking S-O-N. What does that prove to you? It all depends on what your mind creates. So if you thought I was talking about S-U-N, then that is what exists in your world right now. If your mind thought about S-O-N, then that's what you're thinking about right now. Whatever you think, that's all that exists in your world. I'm just trying to convince you that that's all you are. You are nothing more, ladies and gentlemen. Come to your senses. Wake up and realize that all you are is just the mere thought that is in this moment. Nothing more and nothing less. All these other things that you have around you, your family, your property, your wealth, none of those things actually exist. These things only exist because in your mind you are able to take figments of data from memory and then think to yourself that these are mine. Your mind creates that fantasy. If your money is yours, how come when you pass away, people do whatever they like with it? You work hard for your money. You earn your money. How come then when you die, people can do whatever they like with it? You think if you write your last will, everyone will honor that, right? That's what you think. You write your last will and everyone will honor that. By convention, yes. What if the day after you pass away, they bring in a new law that all wills from henceforth are invalid? How can you stop that from happening? Now you're dead. So what about all the money you earned? Whose is it? Let's assume the day after you pass away, the state brings, let's say they're going through a very tough economic time, and so all wills are invalid, and all property that's left behind by someone who's passed away is now belongs to the treasury. Let's assume they bring in a new law. So if your money is yours, how come people get to choose how they spend it once you're gone? It's not yours then. So what is yours then? What really belongs to you? Tell me. What really belongs to you? Do the clothes on your body belong to you? That you're wearing right now, do you think they belong to you? What about the hair on your head? Do you think that belongs to you? What belongs to you? Who's you? Who is you for something to belong to? You are just a citta. That's all you are. How can anything belong to you? Your wife is only your wife because there's a convention. She doesn't belong to you. She's not your wife. A bunch of people have agreed that you can call her wife. She has said okay to that. So now you've all come to this convention, you've all come to an agreement that you can call me wife and I'll call you husband and we'll live together under one roof. That's all it is. She's not your property and you're not hers either. So what actually belongs to you is nothing. Don't you realize that you are no one in this world? And you have nothing in this world? You are nobody. You have nothing. So every time you think that you are someone and you have so many things to your name, you have all these people in your family, ladies and gentlemen, all of that is mental fiction. And because of that mental fiction, you suffer. That's the problem. An arahant is someone who has realized, 1, that he has nothing, 2, that he is nobody. Because he has nothing, the loss of anything doesn't make him unhappy, doesn't take away his suffering. Because he is nobody, there is no one for him to protect. He is entirely selfless, literally selfless. So nothing hurts. No grievance, no sorrow, no fear. Because what is fear after all? Fear is worry that something might threaten you if you become nobody. I don't know how much of what I'm trying to explain to you is actually making sense. Or it's making sense to me. But if it's making sense to you, then I hope these words are helping you to enlighten yourselves and open your eyes and begin to understand that this world that you have created for yourself, ladies and gentlemen, it does not exist. You are living in a fantasy world, I'm sorry to say. Please open your eyes. You know, to me, sometimes I feel like I'm standing on top of a mountain and looking down at these people, and they're all walking towards a cliff. At the end of the cliff, they all drop and fall into a pit of fire and they burn. I can see you doing that. Because you think you have a family. You think you're a husband. You think you're a wife. You think you're a mother. You think you're a father. You think you are in love with someone. All of these are creations of your own mind. You don't realize that these are all creations of your own mind. You really, really, genuinely think that the people around you are in love with you. And they don't. You have to cook that love up in your own mind. That's why you keep on asking people, show me that you love me. Do you really love me? Why do you keep asking people these questions? If someone really loves you, genuinely loves you, then why must you need them to prove it to you? That's because you don't have a love receptor. Only what you cook up in your own mind do you experience. So by virtue of that, ladies and gentlemen, please open your eyes and realize that you are alone and you have no one around you. You have nothing. Nothing belongs to you. Not even your body belongs to you. Then what can you say about another body? If not even your body belongs to you. There's not a single cell in your body that belongs to you. What more to be said about anybody else? All of these are just fabrications of your own mind. And because you fabricate these things, you are like the spider stuck in its own web. You wove the web and now you're stuck in it. And now you can't get out of it. You're going to be burned alive. You're cooking your own misery. You're igniting your own fire. You're fueling your own furnace. And guess what? You're in the middle of it. Why do you allow your ignorance to torture you like this? I ask you. I'm not asking any of you to come into robes if you're not prepared to do that yet. But I can see what you're doing to yourselves. It's not fair because you're good people. You need not do this to yourselves, but if you won't heed my advice, if you won't open your eyes and look at what's happening to you, you won't be able to save yourself from it either, because I can't save you, I'm not your savior. I can only give you the message. You have to take in these words, ladies and gentlemen, and make it true to yourselves. Do try and come out of this dream that you're living in right now. Do try and wake up. Name one person that actually loves you. If you can, I dare you. You must be able to prove to me that they love you. Is there anyone in this world you can prove to me that loves you? Because every time you feel love, it's a cooking that is happening in your own mind. You are cooking it up. You are fabricating it. And then you think that it is someone else, the person you think, who loves you. And so you commit yourself, you devote yourself to that person. The opportunity that you have to get rid of samsara, To free yourself from suffering, you sacrifice on the altar of a love that you have created in your own mind. I can't think of another tragedy than that. There cannot be a greater tragedy than that. When you jump into your own cauldron, when you jump into your own fire, and you burn yourself, no wonder the Buddha was once reluctant to go preaching the Dhamma, because he was thinking to himself, how will these people ever understand what I'm trying to explain to them? So he thought again and again and again, but finally he decided, no, this world needs this message, so I'll go forth and try and preach to them. And so he did. I ask you all, don't you see what you're doing to yourselves? Why are you in the pursuit of wealth? Why are you in the pursuit of glory? Why are you in the pursuit of fame? Why are you in the pursuit of all these things that are not going to actually add any value to your life? Why, dear ladies and gentlemen, do you think that the people around you are going to be able to protect you when they can't protect themselves? Why do you think so? Your mother can't stop crying when she's hurt. Why do you think that she can protect you? Your father can't stop himself from getting angry when he's hurt. What makes you think that he can protect you when he can't guard his own mind? What makes you think that he can protect you? Why do you put yourself at the mercy of others who can't protect themselves? Why don't you realize that the Buddha, Dhamma and the Sangha are your only refuge? It's every man and woman to him and herself. No one else can save you. I promise you and I remind you, you have to do this for yourself. So wake up from this daydream that you might be in. All these people that you think are around you, your colleagues, your friends, your family, your husbands, your wives, they are living their own lives, going through their own problems, suffering from their own miseries, trying to come out of their own vexations. How can they save you when they have no savior for themselves? I wouldn't be speaking to you like this if the Buddha's teaching were not with us today. If there was no hope, I would let you burn yourselves to death. But there is hope, and that hope is in you realizing the Dhamma. Can I say this if you won't be upset or annoyed with me? Personally, I don't think you're doing enough. You might ask me, what right do I have to make such a claim? Well, I will say it anyway. Because who else is going to say it to you? Remember when you were studying, your teacher came up to you and said, you're not studying enough. Your parents came up to you and said, you're not studying enough, study harder, do more. They were only encouraging you to do more because it was for your own good. Personally, I don't feel you're doing enough because I can see the trap you're walking yourselves into. You're walking yourselves into that all the way up to that cliff, and when you reach that cliff, ladies and gentlemen, you won't be able to stop yourself and you will put one more step forward, and the moment you do that, you will fall. 2025 is going to teach you some lessons, and they're going to hurt. They're going to teach you some very painful lessons. But you have an option. Before 2025 teaches you those lessons, if you can learn these lessons, then they won't be so hurtful and so painful. But you have to do more. Sunday mornings is not enough. Sorry to say. Don't make the Dhamma simply a fashion in your life. This is the only refuge. This must be the bread and butter. This must be what you live for. This must be what you breathe for. Look at how I have committed my life to this. It's because there's no alternative. There's no option. My mother can't save me, I know that. It's not because she doesn't love me. She probably cares about me. How can I tell? Love and care is only something creation in my own mind, so how can I tell? But let's assume she loves me. Still, she can't save me because she can't save herself. My father can't save me. My teacher can't save me. Only I can save myself. If only you can save yourself, I have to ask you this question then, are you doing enough? Look at how you spend your week. From Monday to Friday, you're busy. I understand, you have commitments, you have obligations, you have duties and responsibilities. I get that. I'm not stupid, I get that. But at the end of the day, none of that will matter. No one's going to cut you some slack because you had a family to feed. No one's going to give you extenuating circumstances because you had a company to look after. No one. In this game, the rules are very clear-cut. How much Dhamma have you understood and assimilated into your life? How much have you been able to let go of yourself? That is the only thing that will matter. If you're not preparing yourselves for that, then my heart cries for you. I hope that's not all I can do for you. I really hope that is not all that I can do for you. Cry for you. You need to do more, ladies and gentlemen. You need to do more. Don't let 2025 teach you some really painful lessons because, the pain of discipline is far better than the pain of regret. One of these two pains you will have to endure. Either the pain of discipline or the pain of regret. Discipline yourself a little bit more if you can in this year. To do a little bit more for yourself. Bring yourself forward. Don't stay where you are. Don't be content. Don't rest on your laurels. Don't settle for being this good because this good is not good enough. You're good. That's why I say you don't deserve to suffer. But don't settle for being this good. Don't settle for being this good. Do more for yourselves. What if 2024 is the last year in your life? Then who's going to say these things to you after this year is gone? Once you're dead, they'll give you a 7-day alms, they'll give you a 1-month alms, they'll give you a yearly alms, and that'll be it. See, once you're a grandmother, grandfather, no one even cares about you. You're not even dead yet. So, once you're dead, because once you're dead, no one's going to talk to you, no one's going to speak to you, no one's going to explain these truths to you. That'll be it. Then you're going to be stuck back in samsara, hoping to somehow come across the Buddha's teaching again, and who knows, you know what luck you had to come across the Buddha's teaching, right? For how many years of your life were you looking for something and only after you were 60 you came across the teaching? For how many years were you looking for this? How many sermons had you listened to? How many temples had you gone to? How many books had you read? How many courses had you taken? How many meditation classes had you taken? But none of them actually did anything to you. None of them transformed you. None of them got you thinking, whoa, what's going on? Until you came across the true teaching. What if you lose this again? Your life is so fragile. One heart attack is all it takes. One French fry is all it takes. I don't think you're doing enough. I speak out of love. I don't think you're doing enough. You keep on postponing your salvation. Till when? Tomorrow, today you are very busy, so tomorrow we'll see. Well, tomorrow will come and you'll say the same thing again. Because to you, perhaps more important are the bills to pay, the mouths to feed, the course to take, right? These things take priority in your life. When are you going to take yourself as the priority of your life? When are you going to make yourself the priority of your life? And your clock is ticking. And don't think everyone can live up to 120. That was only a joke. What if this year is your last year? Are you ready? Have you done enough? You have all that money in the bank. Take 1 cent of that and show me that it was worth it. You have all that land to your name. Take 1 square inch of that and show me that it was all worth it. You have a big family. 20 people, 30 people in your family. When you have a family get together, you have to hire a place. It's not big enough. Your house is not big enough to bring everyone together. That's how big a family you have. Take 1 of them and show me that it was all worth it when you're gone to look after you. That's the thing, ladies and gentlemen. You've come alone and you leave alone. It's what you have done for yourselves that will be the only solace for you when the clock ticks. Talk. That's why I say, I don't feel you're doing enough. This is not to hurt you, it's to encourage you. It's not to make you feel, it's not to despair you, but to inspire you. I don't feel you're doing enough. Maybe I'm wrong. In which case, 2025 will prove that either one of us is wrong. Those things that I mentioned, they will happen. And when they happen, if you can remain unshakable, fearless, worryless, no grievance, no sorrow, and if you can carry that same smile that's on your face on your birthday as on the day that your loved ones pass away, right? Then I will tell myself that I was wrong. And you were right. You were doing enough. But if when 2025 happens in your life, and these, what you call misfortunate, unfortunate events start to unfold, and you get that cancer, or your mother gets that cancer, or your father passes away, or your loved one you find out has cheated on you, or your daughter has a miscarriage, and you're the mother who has to bear that news. When those things happen, if you will crash and burn in your own sorrow and in your own grief, then I will have to say, I said so. Lay life, there's a lot to offer in lay life. Lay life has a lot to offer because you have all the pleasures that you can enjoy. You must understand that I don't speak out of spite. I have lived a lay life. For more than 20 years of my life, that's the life that I lived. Lay life has a lot to offer. You can eat whatever you want to eat. I can't. I'm reliant on what you offer me. You can go where you want to go and I can't. I'm reliant on where you take me. You can dress what you like to dress. You can listen to whatever you want to listen to. You can watch whatever you want to watch. You can go wherever you want to go, be with whoever you want to be, get married to whoever you want to get married to. You can have children. You can have parties. You can enjoy. You can do all these things. So lay life has a lot to offer. But for all the things that they offer, they take away something from you. For everything they offer you, ladies and gentlemen, they take away something from you. They take away from you the most precious gift that you have, and that is your opportunity to attain true salvation. That is what it takes away from you. Today I feel like lay life is a dream. To a man who's on a ship that's sinking, he's asleep. I'm not against lay life, because I've lived one, so I know what it's like. I know that. I had a wife who I looked after. I had a family who I looked after. I had a mother and a father who I cared for deeply. I worked for many years, and I worked genuinely and honestly. I've done all that. But I know that for all those years that I spent in my lay life, for all the things that lay life offered to me, it took away the most precious thing to me, and that is the opportunity to actually achieve true happiness. Because it kept me in a fantasy, in a dream of pleasure. And when I realized one day that pleasure is merely the relief from my own vexations, that was a shocker to me. That was the day my eyes opened wide. What? Every time I've enjoyed pleasure, that was merely a relief from vexation? And that pleasure was never really to be found in any of those things at all? That was a real eye-opener. That's the day I fell out of love with the life that I was in love with. You're still in that life. I know that lay life is the only option for some of you. So some of these things that I say may sound unfair, because if you have no alternative, is it reasonable for me to ask you to do anything different? But here's what I'm saying. To that conundrum, I don't really have a solution. But for those to whom that option is still available, don't waste your time. And for those to whom that option is not available, still don't waste your time. Settle for merely what you have to do to keep your sustenance. You don't need a palace to live in, all you need is a roof above your head. You don't need a ship to get from place to place. You just need a means of transport. You don't need $1 million to live the remainder of your life. Try and earn something for your tomorrow. Save a little bit for the difficult times, but save yourself the time that you have to find true happiness. Because when you're dead, that's the only thing that will matter, ladies and gentlemen. Nothing that you have will make you happy at that moment. You know you're all going to die. Face it and prepare yourself for it. Otherwise, you will find yourself very helpless. I can't come and save you then. Go to the hospitals when you can, have a moment, you go to see someone, see how those patients who lie in bed unconscious, machines keeping them alive. Why is it when most people are, on their deathbed, in their last moments, they want a Swami Mahansa, someone of the clergy, some religious person to come up to them and chant them some pirit or say a prayer or something like that. Because their heart is now guilty. All these years, all I've done was this, that, and the other. I never did anything to save myself. At least now, I have only one refuge. At least now I have to start believing in God and serve Him. At least now I have to understand the Dhamma and take refuge in a pirit chanting. Why do you want to reduce yourself to that? Today you can take yourselves here and there, you can come to the sermons, you can engage in merits, you can come forth if you still have the opportunity to do that. Why do you think that your husband's going to take care of you? Why do you think your wife's going to take care of you? Why do you think your parents are going to take care of you? They're fighting their own battles. They're all helpless, ladies and gentlemen. They're all helpless. Why don't you see that? Don't you remember how your father gets annoyed? When he's upset, when your mother starts weeping when she's upset? Do you see how helpless they are? How can they save you then? Your husband's dead scared that one day he might find out that you've cheated on him. How fragile his happiness is. Your wife is dead scared that one day you will cheat on her. How fragile their happiness is. So how can they give you a happiness they don't have? And all of that is a creation of the mind. But they don't realize that. That's what I mean. Please, for your own sake. As you make your plans for this new year, ask yourself this question. Swami Nasa kept on saying that I'm not doing enough for my own salvation. How can I do more? Ask yourself that question and plan for that. Do something about it, folks. What home do you have to go back to? You don't really have a home. Your home is only in your own mind. So what's that home you have to get back to after the sermon? What home? They say home is where the heart is. Very true. What you think, that's who you are, that's what your home is, nothing more. How many more funerals are we going to have just from this audience in this year alone? I know by the end of this year, not all of you will be here. I may not be here. You may not be here. You might not want to, why is Swami Nasa going on about death? He's only talking about death. Death. Is that all he talks about? What's his morbid fascination that he has with death? I'm not fascinated by death. I'm fascinated by the fact that you don't seem to care about it. That's what I'm fascinated about. The only reason that you're still in a lay life and you're 60 is because when you were younger, you didn't get to hear these truths. If I'd met you when you were 20, I would have spoken to you. And I would have convinced you. If you had come across a teacher when you were 20, when you were 25, just before you tied that knot, someone would have spoken to you. And if you had a little bit of intelligence back then, because youthful life is a bit like that. It's all very exciting, right? There's so much that you want to explore and experience in the world out there because that's what people have put into your heads. Go places, do things, see things, right? Go and be with people, do interesting things, climb, do whatever, fly, swim. These are the things that people tend to put into young minds. And so young minds are always energized. They just want to go and do things and experience the world, all the while wasting the time that they have to attain true happiness. When you're jumping off an aircraft because you want to do that as a bit of an adventure, that's all created in your mind. You have to think yourself that you're on an aircraft. When you're going for free fall, you have to tell yourself that you are in free fall. Your mind has to create that every single citta. So what is that experience if nothing more than just a creation of your own mind? When you're eating a piece of cake, your mind has to keep on telling you that you're eating a piece of cake. That's how you know that. Do you think you're a famous person? Your mind has to keep reminding you that. Your mind has to keep reminding you that you're a famous person. Because your mind is just a mind. It's not a somebody, it's a nobody. So jati must happen to give you that sense that you are an identity, and then it has to go to memory and bring in all the data from it, that you have so much wealth, you have so much fame, you have so much glory, that so many people know you, you have so many friends on Facebook, you are this person and that person, you have these titles, you are this person in the country, you have this person in your company, right? All of these things it has to bring from memory, and it has to feed all that into this citta. That's how you know that you are the person that you are. It's layer upon layer upon layer upon layer of fabricated stuff. That's what you are. It's like a pastry. Layers and layers and layers of rubbish. You're not any of that. You're merely a citta that arose to pass away. If only you could see how grave and dangerous this samsara is, like I do, you wouldn't go home today, ladies and gentlemen. Thankfully, you don't. Otherwise, you wouldn't go home today. If you actually understood how dangerous this samsara is, every time you suffered, every time you wept, every time you cried, there's that much more to do from here on into the future if you don't save yourself. And life just keeps on playing practical jokes on you. Whether you have something or not, you are still suffering. When you have something, you are afraid that you might lose it. When you don't have something, you are afraid, you're sad that you don't have it. You either grieve it or you are afraid of it. How do you win? Tanna jayati soko, when you don't have it. Tanna jayati bhayang, when you do have it. Then, how can one be free? How can one be happy? The only way to be happy is tanha vippamuttassa. To free yourself from tanha. But what do people do? What they want to do is somehow go and find the things that they want and grab the things they want, go after the things they want. Pursuing the things they want has become the meaning of life. That is not what life is for. Life has been given to you. It's a gift that your good merits have given to you to free yourself from attachment. Tanha vippamuttassa natti soko kuto bhayam. That is where grief and fear ceases. Until then, whether you have or you don't, you suffer. Please try and understand this for your own sake. And ask yourself, am I doing enough? These are not your conventional sermons. And you must know that you must not come to Sunday sermons and Rajagiriya for a traditional, conventional sermon. That's not what these things are. This is a journey of transformation. If you are the same person you were at the end of last year, by the end of this year, then nothing has come out of these sermons. Your thinking has to change, your thought patterns have to change, the amount of attachment that you have inside you has to drop. You must suffer less. Otherwise, this is a waste of time. So like a doctor pulls out the thorn that's stuck in your body, and it hurts when he does that, I will sometimes point out, does it not hurt you? Is it not sore here? The intention is not to hurt. The intention is to convince you that you are already hurt. Because no one speaks to you like this, I can tell you that. Not your mother nor your father speaks to you like this. Because your mother and your father are none the wiser. Not because they don't care, but they just don't know. They don't know what's coming to them. There's a tsunami coming towards you, folks. Please open your eyes and realize that. A tsunami of grief is coming your way. A tsunami of sorrow is coming your way. A tsunami of fear is coming your way. Disease, decay, and death are just roaring themselves at you. They're coming your way and they're going to take you, whether you like it or not. And it's going to destroy you. When that day comes, you'll be helpless. It will matter not how much you have in the bank. It will matter not how many people know you. It will matter not how much wealth or property you have, or who you are in society, whether you're a good mother or a father or any of those things. The Dhamma is your only refuge. The Dhamma is your only refuge. The more you understand that you are nobody, the less that the world can hurt you. The more you think that you are a somebody, you are vulnerable and susceptible to everything in this universe. And the whole world can bring you down on your knees. Please realize that. I will only say these things until I have the privilege to talk to you. If this is too harsh, this is too much, just let me know. And then we can invite another Swami Nuhanse here from another place, and they will talk to you, give you a nice story. But the Buddha was born into this world to free us all from suffering. If that doesn't happen, then what have we made use of the Buddha? What use have we made of the Buddha? Do you understand that everything that you create in your mind is all that exists? That the world that you live in is merely a mental fabrication? Then who's that person that you love so much, that you are so much in love with and you love so dearly? And the person that you think loves you in return? See, all of that is nonsense, ladies and gentlemen, utter nonsense. Stop kidding yourselves like this. Give yourselves a good kick on the back and stop kidding yourselves like this. What makes you think that someone loves you? How do you know? Do you have a love receptor on your body somewhere? You don't know any of this. You have to convince yourself that they love you by creating that emotion within yourself, and then you fool yourself by thinking, it's they who love me like this. What a joke. This is a joke. Stop kidding yourself like this. For your sake, just stop kidding yourself like this. You've never experienced someone else's love. Because love is something that you have to cook in your own mind. It doesn't come from the outside. And then you attribute that love to someone else. And then you think, I can't live without this person because they love me so much. What nonsense. Do what you can for them. I have nothing against that. Do your duty. Today, if you're already in a relationship, fulfill your duty. If it is your duty to feed them, feed them. At the same time, try and give them some Dhamma as well, to heal them. That's why there are among you some couples who come together, husband and wife. They come to the sermons together. Some of you come as families. I have a lot of respect for you because you have understood one thing, that I can never make my wife happy. The only refuge my wife has is Dhamma. I can never give my husband true happiness or love because love is something that has to be created in his own mind. I can't give it to him. But if I care about him, then the only thing I should do is then let him listen to the Dhamma, learn the Dhamma, understand the Dhamma. And find a happiness that is independent of me. See, this is what people who really love each other do. They help each other become independent of each other. People who are selfish don't like that. What they want to do is bring the other person close to them and keep them under lock and key. You're not going anywhere without me. You must always be with me. They want to be like this. As if they're going to live forever. Some people don't even want to dream of a life where the other person, the surviving partner, might want to find another partner once they're gone. Some people would hate that because they think, no, that's not possible. You have to be with me. You have to always be with me. I don't think that is selfless. I think that is very selfish. But it's not for me to call the shots in what you do and what you don't do. But I have to show the facts to you. But here's what a truly loving couple does for each other. They try and give the other person the Dhamma so that the two of them can find independent happiness. A happiness that is not dependent on either one of them. So they know that even when I'm gone, they will still be happy. That's what truly loving people do to each other. That's what my teacher does for me. That is true love. My teacher gives me the Dhamma so that he can be assured that when he's gone, I don't have to cry. My mother couldn't do that for me. She didn't know how to. My mother loved me and she taught me how to love her, but she couldn't teach me how to be happy when she's dead. That she didn't know how to do. But my teacher does. That is because my teacher gives me the Dhamma. So I really appreciate that there are people among you, families, couples who come and give the Dhamma to each other. And of course there are people who have come from afar. There are a group of you who have come to the monastery to spend some time studying the Dhamma. They got to hear about the Dhamma when Mahindahandra went to Australia and preached the Dhamma there, and they got to learn the Dhamma, and now they have come because they want to study the Dhamma further and experience what the true Dhamma can do for them. And they have not come alone, they've come with friends. Incredible. This is what you have to do for yourselves. Money that you have earned, having worked hard for many years, spend it wisely, ladies and gentlemen. Just putting it all into the coffers, putting it onto the treasury, putting it into your bank account is not going to do anything for you, because once you're gone, someone else will come and just erase your name and put their name next to it. But the happiness you find within you, that you can take with you. That's the only thing you can take with you. Have I said enough? There goes another arms round then. I think, this is the thing. You have lots more merit. So when you get me started, it's difficult to stop. Unfortunately, those people who have to earn their merits by offering something, they still don't have the merits. They're not powerful enough. Their merit power is not powerful enough to stop the sermon and bring me on an arms round to them. Because your collective merit power far exceeds theirs. That's what's going on. It's not that I'm unkind to them. Your merit power far exceeds. That's why those who have will always have. That's the way the world works. Because those who have because they've given, and so they keep on giving because they have, and then they'll keep on getting. Those who don't have, they don't give because they don't have, so they never get, so they never give, so they never get, so they never give. That's why we have to make an extra effort to try and get those people on this side. But it's incredibly difficult when they have to compete with you. That's what's going on. They're competing with you right now. They've already lost even before they started. I determined when I sat here, I'm going to stop at 10:30. I was telling the Rajagiriya Matas as well, have the car ready, let it all be prepared, right? As soon as I finish the sermon, let's go. And let's give them 45 minutes to do the arms round. What arms round? Now from next day, don't bring in arms on the first Sunday, okay? Because of that, don't have to do that. But what I'm saying is, your merit power, your collective merit power far exceeds, because if I go on arms round, maybe 5 people, 10 people at most might be able to offer something. Do you think 10 people's merit power can compete and win against yours? So that's another joke. You just cannot. Your collective merit power is so powerful. If the Sakradeva was waiting outside to offer alms, I don't think even he would be able to pull me out of this sermon right now. If he's waiting just to offer alms, and you're here to listen to the Dhamma, and you want to attain Nibbāna, that is always more powerful. That far exceeds everything else. But, whilst you can be happy and proud about that, I also have to remind you, make use of that. See, you must be convinced now that I'm willing to let go of my alms round today to be here and talk to you. How much merit power must you have then? I don't mind going hungry for a day, as long as you get to listen to the Dhamma. But you must make use of it, ladies and gentlemen. Don't let these fall on deaf ears. Don't let these words fall on deaf ears. As I said, I don't feel you're doing enough. It's not to hurt you, but to encourage you. So then ask yourself, am I doing enough? Could I do more? Am I wasting my time? Could I find another half day somewhere where I can listen to a sermon? Or contemplate the Dhamma? Visit the monastery? Ask yourself. All those hours you spend watching TV, must you do that next in the new year as well? Must you watch all that TV? Could you not cut it down to half the time and use the other half to watch a sermon, for instance, so that you can contemplate on the things we talk about here, reflect on that and actually practice it. Understand it one time more. If you're spending hours on Facebook, ask yourself, what is the actual value in that? What have I actually gained from that? I'm not asking you to necessarily stop it if you can't, just do it right now. But do you have to spend all that time on Facebook? Can you not halve the time and save half of that time and do something productive? That's what I'm asking you. Be smart, be clever, be intelligent, be wise, and use the time that you have to best effect. Because this is your time you're spending, not mine. When you're on Facebook, you're not wasting my time or anyone else's, you're wasting your own time. Remember, if something's free, then you're the product that's being sold. If you just spend your time browsing the internet for no use, for nothing to be gained, just jumping from one website to the other, just surfing the website, the internet for nothing, are you just wasting your time? Because time is the most important thing for you right now. Whether you're 60 or you're 20, time is the most important thing, because you don't know when your time's going to run out. But everyone has an expiry date, we just don't know what that date is. That's what I'm saying. And if you're still trapped in these relationships that you think you are in, please remind yourself that all those relationships are merely fabrications of your own mind, that those relationships only exist in your own mind. Yes, you have some duties and responsibilities to others, but keep it to that. Try and do that. Fulfill your duty, but keep it to that. It's like when you go to work. You don't fall in love with your boss, do you? Or do you? It's a transaction there. You do your work and he or she pays you. That's what it is. It's nothing more than that. What I'm saying is, consider this at least. You might think I'm actually very heartless to even suggest something like this. But ultimately, this is the truth. If all your relationships are all mind-made, right? And nothing more than that, but you're already in responsibilities and duties and obligations, either family, colleagues, friends, whatever, fulfill those duties and responsibilities. Don't fail on them. Do the best you can. Because after all, they don't know whether you actually love them anyway. Love is something they feel because of something you give them. So it doesn't matter how much you actually love them, because they won't know anyway. Right? What they know is what you give them. Either a smile, a meal, a flower, a box of chocolates. That's what they know. They don't know how much you love them, because love is a creation of your own mind as much as it is a creation of their own mind. So love does not transfer from one person to the other. Sight, sound, smell, taste, touch, yes, but not love. So keep love to yourself and give what the world wants from you. If your husband wants a sight, give him the sight. If your wife wants a sound, give her the sound. Keep love to yourself. Because if you fall in the love trap, now you start to suffer. Remember what the Buddha said, Pemati jayati soko, pemati jayato bhayam. Prema is prema, prema is love. It's a creation of your own mind. But he never said, don't fulfill your duties in the Singalovada Sutta. He spoke a lot about fulfilling your duties, but he never said you must love the other person. He said you must fulfill your duties to the other person. That's what he said. To fulfill your duty is one. To love is another. Don't fall in the love trap is what I'm saying. Because love is a trap you set for yourself. Duty is something you must do because you care. That's what people expect of you, to fulfill your duties to them. So as a good husband, as a good wife, as a good citizen of the country, as a good colleague, as a good worker, as a good employee, you will have duties and responsibilities and fulfill each and every one of them. Don't fail in your duties, but keep love to yourself. So love yourself and serve all. That's the philosophy I'm trying to get into your minds. Keep love to yourself and serve all. Serve all. This love is love, I mean, with attachment. If you can love without attachment, then love all and serve all. Now I speak of an arahant. Their love is not tainted by attachment. For them, care is the same as love. They have no emotional baggage, no emotional bondage. They simply exist to serve. Like the trees, like the wind, like the earth beneath your feet and the sky above your head. It only exists to serve. It doesn't care whether you love it or not. Don't you agree? So, the day that you can love someone like the sky above your head loves you, the day that you can love someone like the earth beneath your feet loves you, no matter whether you spit at it or kiss it, the earth will still be there to bear your weight. You can look up at the sky and spit at it if you like, swear at it if you like, or praise it if you like, and say how beautiful the sky is. It matters not. The sky will always give you rain and shine and shelter, like it does to everyone, right? The day that you can do that, then care is the same as love. But if your love is right now tainted with attachment, that love, I'm saying, just keep it to yourself. It does no good anyway. Because pemati jayati soko, pemati jayati bhayam, pemato vippamuttas, natti soko kuto bhayam. You can't deny the Buddha's words. That's timeless wisdom. So in the new year, ladies and gentlemen, please set yourself some goals. Set it to your ambition that by the end of this year, you will be doing more for yourselves. You need not to tell yourself, I'm going to be a Sotapanna or a Sakrudagami, Anagami, Arihat. Don't worry about any of those things, because you probably won't be able to tell even what stages you have achieved. That's not what's important. But set yourselves a little bit more time to practice. Try and cut down the time that you waste watching TV. Just wasting away your precious hours. If you're always on Facebook, try and cut down some of that time and put it to something productive. Earn some merits out of the time that you have. That's what I mean. Do something like that with your time, so that this year that we have just launched ourselves into will be a far more productive year than it was the last year. Remember the happiness scale we talked about last week? Ultimately, that's all that matters. It's not whether you get married at the end of this year, or buy that house that you always wanted, or buy that car that you always wanted, or sign that investment deal that you always wanted, or earn that million that you always wanted, win the lottery. None of those things are really what matters. It's the happiness that you have within you. And that only comes through your taking refuge in the Dhamma. That's what I'm saying. So please, invest more of the time that you have, because I can't give you more than 24 hours. That's all we all have. Look at where I have invested all my 24 hours. In the only place where happiness can be found, I have invested 24/7. You're giving up a Sunday. That's why I say it's not enough. I have the right to say that. If I did less than you, I would not have the right to say that. If I was also a lay person, I probably would not have had the right to say that. But as a person of the robe, as a man of the robe, I can talk to you and I can invite you and I can inspire you and I can encourage you. Do more with the time that you have. I'm doing 24/7. Only because there's no alternative. What you can do is all down to each and every one of you. It's an individual thing. What your husband can do will be different to what your wife can do. Each and every one of you in the family might have a different thing that you can do, but please, invest your time wisely. Go to school, go to college, go to work. Yes, you have to do those things. You can do those things. But if you just examine your timetable, your schedule, your week, you will see that there's a lot more time that gets wasted doing meaningless, useless, futile activities, like watching TV. No one ever became a millionaire by watching TV. No one ever became happy by watching TV. With the TV, you are the commodity, and you must understand that. That's why they show it to you for free. You are the commodity. So don't be those lab rats that we spoke about a couple of weeks ago. Love yourself for once and do something useful. I have no more words to express how I feel. I've run out of words now, so I'll stop. But please, for your sake, open your eyes. The clock is ticking. Your time is what is being spent. None of these seconds can you gain back again. You cannot undo a mistake, you can only learn from it. That's the thing. You can never undo a mistake, you can only learn from it. You've already made so many mistakes in your life. If you haven't learned from them, you will keep on redoing those mistakes. That's the thing with life, isn't it? You can never undo a mistake, but you can redo those mistakes, can't you? How unfair. How bad, how terrible that is. You can only learn from a past mistake. You can't undo them, but you can redo them. Isn't that shocking? So if in 2024 you made a bunch of mistakes, don't redo them in 2025. Let's learn from our mistakes from the past year. And from here on, use our time wisely. I'm prepared to talk to you until my throat goes bloody. I'm prepared to talk to you with every ounce of energy that I can muster. But I need you to make use of this time, this energy, and do something useful with your lives, ladies and gentlemen. So please allow me to tell you that you're not doing enough. Allow me to say that. Permit me to say that. So that you might feel at least a little sense of guilt maybe, or a little sense of duty. If Swami Nibbāna is striving so hard to help us, then must I not help myself a little bit more? That's what I want you to think. If the Mahasangha is doing so much to save me, must I not do for myself a little bit more? Whatever that little bit more is, do it. Okay? So I hope and pray that the new year will be a very productive one for all of you. That you can experience the bliss that I experience very soon. And if there are any among you who are fortunate enough to do this 24/7, as I do it today, then I hope that the path gets cleared for you to come forth and join our family so that you can actually make use of your valuable life and not waste a single second of it. I'm greedy for happiness. That's how greedy I am. That's why I said Buddhism begins where the happiness that people understand in a worldly life ends. It's where people come when that happiness is just not happy enough. When you want ultimate happiness, unconditional happiness, that's where the sasana is. So, come and join us if you want to. Let's conclude for the day then. Let's all take a moment to transfer the merits that we have all acquired by making offerings to the infinite virtues of the Noble Triple Gem, listening to the Dhamma, inviting the Swamin Wahanse to deliver the sermon, as well as creating a conducive environment for all to come along and practice. First and foremost, let us take this opportunity to transfer all the merits that we have acquired to the monks and nuns throughout the world who have practiced the Dhamma day and night, as well as the bhikkhus and bhikkhunis, upasakas and upasikas who have since time immemorial protected and preserved the sublime teachings of the Buddha and passed it down through the generations of the noble lineage in the form of the Tripitaka, which is thankfully available to us today to study, understand and comprehend the teaching. Let us also transfer these merits to the Mahanayakatheras, the Anunayakatheras of all the chapters who have dedicated their lives to the noble path. Let us also transfer these merits to my teacher Guru Swamin Wahanse, as well as all the monks resident at the monastery and the Anagarikas and Anagarikas attached to the monastery. Let us also take a moment to transfer these merits to those who make great efforts to disseminate the teachings of the Buddha, be that by translating these talks, sharing them out with others, or inviting others to join them. Let us also transfer these merits to friends of the monastery, our devotees, who for the sake of merits to help them attain the supreme bliss of Nibbāna, continue to sustain the Mahasangha. This includes all of you who provide the Mahasangha with shelter, arms, robes and medicines, as well as pass on their know-how and continue to extend their well wishes. May they all rejoice in these merits, and by the power of these merits, may they be healed of any physical and mental ailments and overcome any obstacles to their spiritual progress. May they abstain from the unmeritorious deeds, fulfill the meritorious deeds, fulfill the Noble Eightfold Path, and may they all attain the supreme bliss of Nibbāna. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Let us also take a moment to transfer these merits to your mothers and fathers, brothers and sisters, sons and daughters, grandparents, uncles, aunts, cousins, nephews and nieces, our friends, our acquaintances, our employers and our employees, and our teachers, as well as those who've gone every step of the way to help make our lives better, who've left no stone unturned to help make our lives as comfortable as could be. May they all rejoice in these merits, and by the power of these merits, may they also be healed of any physical and mental ailments and overcome any obstacles to their spiritual progress. May they abstain from the unmeritorious deeds, fulfill the meritorious deeds, fulfill the Noble Eightfold Path, and may they all attain the supreme bliss of Nibbāna. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Let us also take a moment to transfer these merits to the Devas and Brahmas, spirits and demons, primarily the Sakadeva, as well as all the numerous gods and deities who have committed themselves to fulfill and preserve the Sambuddha Sasana. Let us transfer these merits to our guardian deities who keep a watchful eye over us and keep us out of harm's way. May they prosper in divine power and wisdom. May they abstain from the unmeritorious deeds, fulfill the meritorious deeds, fulfill the Noble Eightfold Path, and may they all attain the supreme bliss of Nibbāna. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Let us also take a moment to transfer these merits to those who passed away in our names, our forefathers, our ancestors, and our loved ones of today and yesterday, reminding ourselves that it is in their blood, sweat, and tears we are able to enjoy the comforts of life that we do and practice the path in peace and harmony. Let us also transfer these merits to members of the armed forces as well as the police force who sacrifice their lives to protect the peace and harmony of our nation. Let us also transfer these merits to those who lost their lives in natural disasters and wars, as well as natural calamities such as tsunamis and earthquakes, landslides, fires, floods, pandemics, and so on. Reminding ourselves that among them will be those who've been friends and family to us in this long journey of samsara. They'll have been parents to us, brothers and sisters to us, acquaintances to us. They'll have helped us, supported us, and assisted us in every way, shape, and form possible and available to them. And therefore, with a sense of gratitude towards all that they have done for us, let us transfer all the merits we have acquired to all of them, and may by the power of these merits, if any of them have been born in the woeful planes, they redeem themselves and be born in the blissful plane. May they abstain from the unmeritorious deeds, fulfill the meritorious deeds, fulfill the Noble Eightfold Path, and may they all attain the supreme bliss of Nibbāna. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. And finally, May by the power and blessings of all the merits we have acquired throughout the day, we be able to witness the advent of many hundreds of thousands of Arahants on this blessed land. And finally, may you and I and everyone who's helped make this program a success become a Rahatan Vahanse or an Arahaterin Vahanse in this life itself and in the era of this Sambuddha Sasana itself. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. May the blessings of the Noble Triple Gem be with you all. The members of the Mahasangha will now transfer their blessings to you. Raga ginnen midetva, Dvesha ginnen midetva, Moha ginnen midetva, Nibbāna parama sukhayen Sukhita taravetva, Nibbāna parama sukhayen Sukhita taravetva, Mamada siyalu loka siyalu satvayo, Nibbāna parama sukhayen Sukhita taravetva, Nibbāna parama sukhayen Sukhita taravetva, Nibbāna parama sukhayen Sukhita taravetva, Raga gini niveva, Dvesha gini niveva, Moha gini niveva, Nivan sapa labeva, Nivan sapa labeva, Nivan sapa labeva. Tunduange suvisi ananta maha guna belen silu loka silu sattayoma Nibbāna parama sukhayen sukhita taravetva. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.